And welcome back to part 2 of the Should Have Played This Game 2023 Game of the Year Awards Spectacular, I guess.
Extravaganza!
Yeah, so in part 2 we did a part 1 recorded, from behind the curtain yesterday. And that'll go up on Monday, the 29th. This episode will be a couple of days after that, so if you want to go back and listen or watch that one, please do so. We covered 5 categories. Best game we didn't get time to finish, won by Cocoon. Best noise, won by Alan Wake 2. Best new thing, won by Dave the Diver. Best surprise, won by Robocop. Yeah, they have a bit of a Freudian slip there. And best looking game also won by Alan Wake 2. And that is the only game so far to have won multiple awards, and I think it may get a third or fourth one as we go through.
It will do quite well today as well.
Today as well. So first up, we've got best story and writing. Repeat what we said yesterday. Spoiler alert for the entire episode. This one's going to be really spoiler heavy. We're literally going to be talking about story. Can't be avoided. We've got some stuff that is best can be, but it's very hard to talk about without spoiling. We've got best campaign coming up as well. We're going to do best hand feel, which is essentially mechanics, gameplay, that sort of thing. Best new character in PC. That's the first category that can actually have multiple nominations per game. We're also going to have best campaign. In fact, let's cut to that.
Hey!
So we have best campaign, which is fairly obvious what that's going to cover. Best story and mission, as you can see, multiple categories, multiple nominations there for multiple the same games. So we'll be culling actual moments in that section rather than actual games. We're then going to have Steve's top 10, my top 10. Then we're going to import those into the overall top 10 and try and get a actual top 10 for the site at the end of that process. So let's dive into the first one, which is best story or writing. Nominations are Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, A Space for the Unbound, Dead Space, just make sure I get this name right, Desta, The Memories Between, The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, Repella Fella, Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals, American Arcadia, Alan Wake 2, Sanabi, I'm going to make a guess.
Sanabi, I would say.
You Will Die Here Tonight, Jusant, The Invincible, and the Talos Principle II. So let's dive in.
Anything? Is there anything you want to add?
No, I did a couple of adding last night.
Got...
So I've done my stuff already, so I'm happy with what's there for these categories. So, alright, so there's a couple here that I don't know anything about. So,
well, should the Talos Principle 2 be there, seeing as you haven't finished said story?
Probably not, just on that basis. So, it's got a good story so far and has the potential to be a really good story. But yes, probably from that perspective, let's get rid of that one already. I assume these games are all games you finished, I'm assuming? Yep, alright, cool. So, let's start with... I'm going to start with Jusant. It doesn't really have a story, per se. It has an environment, has a world, but I'm not sure I would necessarily call that a story.
I feel like there is a story. It's like the personal story of the characters climb up the mountain and like sending your little squishy dude up to squishy dude heaven, saving the whales once you get to the top, and because some reason whales fly in this world and they're frozen at the top of this fucking mountain, and you let them go and they all go to heaven and it rains again.
Yeah, but in terms of... Yeah, you're right. There is a thing there, but I wouldn't call that... Like, it's a...
I wouldn't say it's the best. I wouldn't say it's the top 3 story at all.
No, so
it's not even close.
Let's get rid of it now then. Done.
I gotta say, I've got like an ulcer or something. I got a scratch or cut in the corner of my mouth, and I think I might have ulcerated, so it's kind of sore.
Okay.
It's unpleasant. Ow.
What? Well, Shadow Gambit, we'll get to that. The Space for the Unbound, what's the story in that one?
So, see, I played that like really early last year, so it's really hard to remember. You're a new kid that... So, it's a game from Indonesia. And you are a kid who rocks up at a new school.
Mm-hmm.
And you make friends with this girl. And it becomes like this sort of romantic entanglement in some ways. It's sort of this weird... It gets all weird and metaphysical and fucking eldritch horror at a point. And the girl's got like multiple layers of secrets as to what she actually is, who she actually is, and everything involved in that. It's a very good story from memory. Partly the memory of the specific details I can't quite remember. I just remember it was a mindfuck when you find out what the actual nature of that girl is, and that I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to make top 3.
Is it top 3? I'm just going to... Yep, go. Dead's...
Had I remembered it better, probably not.
Yeah. Desta, The Memories Between.
So Desta is the story of a bisexual girl who has returned home following the death of her father? A family death, or she's come home from college or something like that. And she's struggling... No, it's not bisexual, sorry, non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
And she's struggling with the concept of how to come out and how to interact with both her mother and the friends that she had and has not had contact with for quite some time. All of these conversations and all of these interactions take place in her mind during games of tactical dodgeball.
Okay.
It does that sort of non-binary sort of idea and the struggles, the identity struggles, and how to interact with those that don't know that part of your identity all that well and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little too small scale, perhaps, and also the fact that these conversations don't actually play out in the real world. They only play out in her head, and somehow it all works out.
Okay.
So you have to sort of put a bit of suspension of disbelief on that one and go, wait, what? How has she established all these relationships and fixed them if it's only in her head and in her dreams?
Yeah, okay.
So there's some narrative disconnect on that one, purely from you don't know what her actual life outside of these brain freezes, memory trips, dreams, whatever you want to call them are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it just wraps up with, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, okay.
All my friends love me. My mum's all good with me. Let's go. And I'm like, hang on a sec. You only did all those conversations in your head. You didn't actually have them with those people? Like, the story itself is like the sort of struggle for acceptance and self-acceptance, self-identity, all that sort of stuff, which is really, really cool. But you kind of have to put that narrative disconnect of, you didn't handle this in the real world, I don't think.
Mm.
So, yeah. For as important as a story like that is around those identity elements, it probably doesn't fit top 3 because I feel like that disconnect between handling the identity crisis in your dreams and in your memories versus handling them in the real world and not seemingly handling them in the real world doesn't work as well. Cut it.
Got it. All right. The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
So this was a free thing that Sega put out for Sonic the Hedgehog's anniversary earlier this year. It's a fucking murder mystery.
Okay.
It's like when you go to those places like, who killed Sonic? Oh, no. But then Sonic actually ends up someone tries killing Sonic at the end. And of course, it's Robotnik behind it all.
Okay.
It's just it has no right being as interesting a narrative for what seemingly is a joke game for Sonic's anniversary. It is written really quite well for what it is. I mean, it's got maybe the narrative depth of a puddle.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
The narrative in this is a fucking ocean compared to narratives in most Sonic the Hedgehog games.
Yeah.
So I thought it was written fairly well. And the concept of putting Sonic the Hedgehog and all of his friends in a murder mystery on a fucking train was really, really interesting.
So what's
it's sort of...
Just as a bother, what's the... Like, you're obviously not...
Visual not...
You're not doing the regular level stuff you do in Sonic the Hedgehog.
In order to deduce and arrive at conclusions and stuff like that, you're thrown up almost like a fake Game Boy Advance, and you're given like this isometric path, and you have to jump over spikes and shit with Sonic.
Oh, okay.
And get a certain number of rings.
Okay.
It's real weird.
Okay.
It's free. It has no right. But arguably, we probably could have put this on Best Surprise yesterday or in part 1. Yep. It wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But
it probably should have been there.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Particularly given what Sega has done with Sonic in the last 20 years, 30 years. Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Alright, so next up is another one from you, which is Repella Fella, which is an Australian game, if I recall.
Yep. Hell of Australian dude. You're an Australian dude who goes to look at basically a bunker under the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, I found this fly for this bunker under the ocean. Let's go check it out. And you go down there, and it locks it, and you can't get out. And you come out 20 or 30 years later.
Okay.
But I think it's those sort of bunkers where you don't age.
Oh, okay.
So time basically feels like a nothing for the dude, but he's come out and it's 30 years later.
Yep.
And it's tomorrow when the war begins. An unknown invading force has taken over Australia, and you need to work with the other Australians to fix it. And he says fuck a lot. He says the C word sometimes, and it's really funny. Again, a story and a game way better than it has any right to. My biggest problem with it doesn't actually provide an actual ending. It ends on a cliffhanger.
Okay.
I like that game though.
Mm-hmm. Leave it for the time being.
Leave it for the time being. Yeah.
Yep. Oxenfree 2, the Lost Signals, I should say.
Did you play the first Oxenfree?
No, I haven't played any of them, so.
Okay.
Well away.
So Oxenfree 1 was a few kids going to an island for a camping thing, and they find a bunch of weird sort of signals and basically following that route, and it's all about the relationships between those characters, getting through this weird fucked up paranormal event and emerging on the other side as far as, okay, that's done. I mean, it doesn't end quite that simply, quite that neatly, but that's basically what it is. This one has a reporter returning to her hometown, which happens to be the same hometown and same island from the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Completely new set of characters. She goes there basically to reconnect with people that she knew from the olden days.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds the same or almost worse paranormal events happening there. The crew some of the kids from the first game actually show up as sort of ghost-like characters in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a real strength in the writing, in the relationships of the characters. One of them talks way too much, and they're hopefully you'd want to sort of shut the fuck up slider for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just shuts up. He never shuts up and just bitches about shit. But sometimes it's useful.
Mm-hmm.
And you're working your way through trying to resolve this repeated paranormal event and how you're going to overcome it. And much like the first game, there are characters that can die, and it's about dealing with those deaths and overcoming that and being able to force your way through to see to the end of it and go, right, fuck this, let's go. Let's finish this, let's wrap this shit up, and let's get ourselves safe and fix this shit. I'm underselling it because again, I played that about halfway through the year. I played it about probably maybe a month after it came out, if that.
Mm-hmm.
But the strength in this one is all about the writing of the dialogue and the interpersonal relationships between the different characters. Even that character that doesn't shut up and just keeps going on, there is a relevance to the things that he says and the way he goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And even your character that you're playing as sort of has this reaction of, dude, can you shut up sometimes? And then there's a part, I think that if I remember right, there is a part where he does shut up and she's like, why didn't you say anything? Well, you told me to shut up. I'm almost positive that happens. I think there is a real strength in like I said, the writing of the character relationships and everything like that. Looking at what we've got, does it hit a top 3? Much like Repella Fella, I'm going to say I doubt it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's scrap it for now.
Which is sad because I think the writing in both Oxenfree 2 and Repella Fella are really strong. Oxenfree is just an evolution of the writing, the quality of the writing that was in the first game. Whereas Repella Fella is just, hey, let's put this Australian dude in hell of Australia situations, eh? So get rid of Repella Fella as well. It's not going to, I don't think, with what we've got, I can't say it's going to go through to the end and win.
Alright, so we'll skip Alan Wake 2 because we'll come back to that. Sanabi, or Sandby, whatever you pronounced it before.
Sanabi? Maybe?
Sanabi, yep.
Okay, you're essentially a ninja assassin with a hook arm. And you start the game playing with your young daughter. And you're going through these events, and he starts glitching out a little bit, and here's the word Sanabi. And he's like, his kid's looking at this present, and it's like, oh, it's from Sanabi. And he's like, oh, Sanabi, runs towards the house fucking explodes, seemingly killing the kid, and he just goes on this fucking revenge mission to kill everyone who had anything to do with it.
Yep.
That in and of itself, alright, yeah, whatever. There's a strength in as you're trying to go on this revenge mission and going, I'm going to get every single one of these motherfuckers. Along the way, you pick up a girl that's a hacker who hangs out in the main city. I can't remember the name of the city off the top of my head. And it's obvious that there's something behind this character, this girl that you find. There is something there that causes her to keep wanting to go on and fuck over the... It's one of those situations where a corporation's running a city and they're going to destroy the city because shit's jumped off. And she's like, nah, fuck this corporation, we got to bring it down. Obviously, it's said way more eloquently than that. So she's staying with Sanabi, not Sanabi, the main character, I can't remember his name either. And you're going through all these situations and killing a bunch of dudes and a bunch of robots and a bunch of other things that are set out to try and kill this assassin. You get to the end, and you find out that basically the explosion at the start was a simulation. Your consciousness has been put into the body of a robot, and the kid that you found was actually your daughter.
Well, that was an obvious one. When you said it, that was going to be that. That's a bit.
It wasn't obvious to me at the time. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on with this thing? Because I was just like, yo, the kid's dead. What the hell? I didn't click to the simulation part until
the simulation part. That's a good twist. But the hacker being his daughter's. That's.
It's not that. Like in retrospect, it's not that much of a surprise.
Not that much of a surprise. Yeah, wouldn't have thought so.
But because you don't there's 30 years between, or she was 8 when the bomb happened, and then 10 years go by, so she's 18. So basically, she's looking into this corporation. All of this sort of culminates because she's looking into this corporation. It's all secret squirrels. By looking into this corporation and downloading the data and all this sort of stuff, she's made it known that she's onto them. So the corporation kills her dad, takes the brain
with the simulation. Puts
it in a robot and goes, right, let's set a keyword that sets it off. And basically, it's going to go nuts and start killing everyone we want it to kill, and it's Sanabi. And the whole thing with the girl was trying to make the main character see that it is a robot and all that sort of stuff. And the last parts of it, which is even more of a fucking gut punch, is the main character learns all of this. And then basically is like, this isn't, I'm not that dude. I'm that dude's brain in a robot. We need to shut this shit down. And the girl's really struggling because she finally got her dad back. She's finally happy. She has the relationship. She feels responsible for getting the dad killed. All of this stuff. And he's like, I'm not him. Shut it down. Shut me down. All that sort of stuff. And it's like an action a pretty hard action platformer.
Yeah.
So like Celeste, it's fucking to the point where I was getting really angry at it at a point because there were some parts that were just fucked. But like Celeste, there's that really strong story in the background that it almost you want to say it almost doesn't deserve.
Yeah.
But that's way too harsh.
Yeah.
It's a super interesting story. It's the thing that made me finish that game was trying to find out what the hell is going on. What's this Sanabi? what's up with this girl?
Mm.
What's up with this corporation? Why? And like, they've set the simulation. He doesn't see any people.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of people around. Like, it gives you some flashbacks of playing through some of the scenes leading up to the end.
Mm.
The scenes you play through, they've made him convinced that some virus or some computer AI thing wiped out the entire population. So there's no one. It's just him, this girl, and all the robot security guards that are trying to kill him. And then you see him just running and jumping and grappling hooking through this city while there's a bunch of people just hanging around going, what's that guy doing? No, I mean, it's not played for laughs. I mean, I can describe it in a way that's funny, but it's not played for laughs. But it's just, it's really, really fascinating in how it's told.
That sounds really good.
I feel like it...
Keep it for the time being.
Yeah.
You will die here tonight.
I explained the story to this yesterday.
Well, we'll repeat it because not everyone's heard been the play one. So
yeah,
just
good
repeat
point.
it a bit.
So, you walk into a police station and it's like, we're going to go get this guy. So it starts off like any normal police procedural.
Yep.
You rock up to this house where this quote-unquote guy is supposed to be. And then everyone blacks out and passes out and falls over. And then you wake up as a character and she's like, wait, where is everyone? And you get a voiceover where it's like everyone's either been captured or basically everyone's been captured.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing through as one character, and there's like 6 or 7 characters in the sort of SWAT team that went to this house.
Mm-hmm.
And if you die as one character, you select another one to keep playing as.
Okay, yep.
So that's where in some of the writing I saw about this game, people were describing it as a roguelike for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
If you wipe the team, they basically just wake up again, and where you were at, it picks up where you were at last save point you were at, but it resets all the monsters and everything that you killed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing through this, and it becomes sort of Resident Evil, and there's this really big, scary mansion, a bunch of monsters, vampires, zombies, that sort of shit. And you're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Where's this dude that you're trying to get and arrest, bring to justice, all that sort of stuff. But at a point, it's just like, nah, fuck this. Let's find the rest of the team and get out.
Mm-hmm.
You get out. There's like like I said, some Resident Evil type stuff, finding keys, opening doors, all this sort of biz. You eventually get out, and you get a cutscene where a helicopter's flying away, like, yay, they got away! And then it flies into the side of basically a geothermal dome that's like a shielded sort of thing, like a Truman Show, American Arcadia sort of vibe, or Godzilla vs. Kong, which I watched in the break. And then you wake back up as the main character. Oh, I forgot about this. When you're the character who wakes up, it's not the actual main character you walked into the police station it's one of the members of the team.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually find that main character in the basement of this mansion, and she's like, thanks for bringing this to me. Blah! And she just turns around and kills the character you've been the whole time.
Okay.
And you're like, wait, what's going on? And she's like, all right, mission accomplished. And then you get this control voice come up going, no, mission's not accomplished. You need to do this, this, and this. And she's like, what the fuck? Why are you changing the mission on me? What the hell? So that's where that all goes.
Yeah.
And then, so you get the fly into the side of this dome, and then you walk back into the same police station from the start as that first character. And she's like, wait a minute. I've done this before. What the fuck's going on here? And then there's little hints and clues. I don't know who leaves them or she finds them. Like, someone from the outside must be, like, emailing or contacting her to basically go, this is basically essentially a simulation, Truman Show. You're in basically a research facility, blah, 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 blah. She blows a hole in the chief's window, which opens up the rest of the facility, and then you escape and find out that there's just a hell of a lot of clones of both yourself and the rest of these characters, which explains how they can repopulate and reanimate you for the reset if you wipe the team. And you fight a clone version of yourself and basically go, hey, guess what? Get fucked. Bam! And walk out. It's fucking ridiculous in the greatest way.
Alright. The Invincible, I'm actually going to remove the Invincible because it's not an original story. It's based on a Polish novel, which I didn't actually realise until a bit later on. So we'll remove that one. It probably really shouldn't be in the list in the first place, but we'll get rid of it.
Arguably, you can make the same argument for Dead Space because it's telling a story that was, like, again, because it's a remake.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what we should maybe get rid of it for that purpose. It's just because it's not an original story, so it's not a new thing. So after removing all those things, we're left with the Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, American Arcadia, Alan Wake 2, Sanabi, You Will Die Here Tonight as our remaining 5. The Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, is a really good story, but because the way of which that game plays, it's sort of told in it's not told in a very linear way, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're doing lots of little missions, the story's really broken up. So it's probably the reason why it's not necessarily the story's really good, but the writing is really, really good.
So that's why this category is best story / writing.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily the story as as you play it through is really, really sort of the structure of it makes a bit sort of stop start, unlike other games where you're playing through a linear levels and just go one level to the next level and don't have any sort of stopping per se. But just the writing, I showed a bit of it yesterday in the best noise category, I think it was. The dialogue that all these characters have, you basically are playing. For the most part, you're playing as the character that's on the front of the cover out there, Afia Montecarlo. She joins this. She basically finds this cursed ship called the Red Marley, and throughout the entire story, you are basically recruiting crew members to it, and they're the other characters you can see in the screenshots there. To the point where you basically end up with 9 characters, I think, in the end, or 8. No, 9. There's 9 characters in the end.
I was going to say, I thought it was 9.
There's 9. There's 9 in the end. I thought it was
Everything I've read about it says it's a crew of 9.
It's a crew of 9. And they've all got their own little backstories and little, essentially loyalty missions you can do that are related to the story in a way, but don't directly affect it, if that makes sense. And they're really good. They're really relatively short, 2 or 3 missions only, but they're really good. I just think the dialogue and all the dialogue in this is the big thing of this, and it really does help with the fact that the way it's delivered by all that voice acting, it just sells it perfectly. Yeah. So I think that's why it's been I've nominated it.
I feel like in some ways, like a tactical stealth game like that, because that's Mimi's third one.
Third and final, sadly, but yes.
Third and final. It is very difficult to actively communicate a story, an effective, cohesive story in that sort of form, but they seem to pull it off.
Yeah, as I said, like
particularly on the strength of that writing.
Yeah, so the writing is really good. Like the cutscenes are basically still shots, and the character art comes in, and they do the voice acting. They change the characters around to who's talking. But they do have little dialogue inside the game levels as well, where they're sort of doing little snippets of lore between the characters and why they're doing certain things. So it's not solely just in the sort of the cutscenes, quote unquote stuff. But I think just the overall writing of that game is just so damn good. And the way in which I think, as I said, the real selling point is how it's delivered by the voice actors. America Arcadia. I think this one might not hang on this list ultimately, but I think the thing that it's really, really good. Don't get me wrong, it is really, really good. But again, I think the style of that game is what really sells it. But having said that, the dialogue between the two main characters, Trevor Hills and Angela Solano, are just it's really, really good. And it's almost like you basically play you swap between those two characters frequently throughout the entire game. Sometimes you're just controlling Trevor, and Angela's talking to you. Sometimes you're controlling Angela, and she's talking to Trevor, and they're having conversations. Sometimes you're controlling both of them at the same time and having conversations between the two. The gameplay of that game, which we'll probably get more into in Handfeel, is just really, really good. I must admit, I thought that there is a bit of a twist at the end of that story that I actually didn't see coming. I thought it was going to be a different way.
Which one?
So there's a story where you're trying to escape Arcadia.
Yep.
As Trevor, and it's set up as if the main character is at the top of the screen, whose name completely escapes me.
It escapes me too, and I finished it like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so you're escaping this American Arcadia, and you think that she's just a bitch basically, that she's just controlling everything, but she then turns around and says, you've now stumbled across a new game show, which is essentially
That's right.
You're essentially escaping Arcadia as a new game show we've created because people wanted to get out and we wanted to make money of it. She's basically I
feel like that's just a capitalization on the fact that everyone's interested in Trevor's escape. So she's done the corporate thing of, well, fuck it, let's make money.
But the twist I thought Angela's going to screw him. That was the twist I thought.
Oh, did ya?
That's what I thought.
I never got that vibe from her.
Yeah, so I got that when he got towards the end of it, she was going to screw him over in some way. That's what I thought. That's what was a bit of surprise. But when I looked back and thought, you had that completely wrong. It makes no sense what you thought.
Maybe I'm a bit naive, but I was like, nah, she's not going out of her. Yeah. Like, she wouldn't put herself through this shit if she was going to screw Trevor at the end. And the mere fact that the other lady turns around and goes, and it's a game show. Yeah. We're going to have everything. Someone tries to escape. It's like, fuck you, lady. Yeah. That wasn't. Oh, get the fuck out of here. One of the funniest twist for me is the big security leader dude that you've got your mouse over. The fact that he turns out to be an actor. Yeah. That's fucking hilarious. And when you run into the biggest dude in Arcadia, the most popular dude, and Trevor just punches him. Yeah. So fuck you, man. Bam. I'll be honest. Like, for me, it's the look of that game, but also the story is what actually propels you. Because if it wasn't for the strength of that story, I would have given up on that thing.
100%. The story is really, really solid. Don't get me wrong.
I'll be honest. I wouldn't cut it yet. The problem's going to be is, what do we cut?
Yeah. So this is made by the same people that made Call of the Sea, which was...
That's right.
2 years ago, I think now. I'm just trying to find her... name.
Who's?
The main protagonist.
Call of the Sea was 2020.
Oh, so it's 3 years ago now. Okay. But the thing that's just really interesting about it is that Vivian Walton, that's her name, Vivian Walton. Just looked it
up. And how she's a part of that Walton family is fucked as well.
Yeah. It's got a lot to it for something that she plays maybe 6 or 8 hours would be probably the playtime of that thing. It is really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm sort of now talking myself out of cutting it, so we'll leave it in for the time. But the way that the story is told is that it's sort of told after the fact, after it's happened, and it's a documentary. That's what they're doing. They're creating a documentary, and they release it at the end of it.
I don't remember that part like the actual documentary part of it being actively revealed. The last thing I remember.
No, literally they do it. They literally reveal it at the end.
I just can't remember that part.
Yeah, so they reveal.
I remember Trevor and Angela sitting on the couch. Basically, they're together now.
That's
they see the ad for.
That's them watching the documentary. That's them doing it. That's them literally.
Oh, okay. Ad comes up for Escape from Arcadia, and they're like, "We're not watching this shit. Fuck this," and turn it off.
Yeah, so that's them sort of after the whole thing's been out. Yeah, so it's.
Why do the characters not have noses? What the fuck? But other than that, like I said, I wouldn't have finished it if that story wasn't super strong.
Yeah, no, good try. Yes, this is going to be really tough because I don't really want to get rid of Shadow Gambit. I don't want to get rid of Arcadia. So
Alan Wake 2 is not going anywhere. So unfortunately, by the
sort of
process of elimination,
we've got to get rid of You Will Die Here.
It rules out You Will Die Here tonight and Sanabi because
Sanabi, yeah.
This is one category I'm going to say Alan Wake 2 wins.
It doesn't with me. It's American Arcadia, but because
there are layers upon layers upon layers of storytelling and twists, and the way it's actually told. When you think you understand everything, the game changes. Like the story turns around and twists on its head. I put this in best moment. After the very first boss encounter, you find Alan Wake just on the beach because they've Saga Anderson and James McCaffrey's character, I can't remember his name. They've sent out to Bright Falls again because of a cult-related murder, I think. and you're basically investigating this murder. You come across this cult and sort of investigate that. It starts going all super, like not full supernatural, but you start finding out that's what it was. The very, very opening of the game, where like starts with you as this naked old fat dude waking up on a beach, stumbling your way along this beach until you walk into the cult who kill you and cut you open. That's when the FBI called in to try and figure out what happened. So Saga Anderson and what is that motherfucker's name? It is Alex Casey. That's right. That's James McCaffrey's character's name. Alex Casey and Saga Anderson are called to figure out what's going on with this old dude woken up or just found open on this park table at this camping site, which happens to be in Bright Falls, which is where Alan Wake went missing 13 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not exactly real time, but it's in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So you go down this sort of rabbit hole of this cult-like murder, everything that's going on with the ritualistic killing of this old naked dude, and you find following this whole down, and then you find out certain sort of supernatural, sort of paranormal elements come up, and sometimes it'll just be this bang flash on the screen of like this real sort of staticky, harsh, black and white, just bruh. Which actually got me quite a few times as I played the game. And Saga is sort of leaning into some of it a little bit, but with a skepticism of, okay, some of this stuff's not real, but I'm not going to dismiss it out of mind. Alex Case is like, fuck this is all dumb. And then she goes on, finds the quote-unquote cult leader, engages in this fighting with the cult leader, ends up killing him, and you find Alan Wake on the beach. And Alan Wake's been in the dark place since the end of Alan Wake 1, where he was trying to find his wife. And then you get him back to the sort of hotel motel that's in Bright Falls, and you're starting to question him. And he's like, I woke up in the dark place. I've been in there for 13 years trying to find my wife, blah, 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 blah. But the game then switches you to Alan Wake in the dark place. And he's still trying to get out, still trying to find his wife, what happened, and all that sort of stuff. And it's playing all of these weird clips, like it's bringing in talk show stuff of him being on a talk show in the dark place multiple times, at Groundhog Days a fair few times. And he's working on trying to stop this entity called Scratch from getting out, killing everyone, which is basically the continuation of the sort of narrative hooks from Alan Wake 1. But then, as you're playing along, you're like, Alan's in the real world. How is he stuck in the dark place? And for a while, I just like, all right, whatever. I'm sure it'll get explained as we go along. It gets explained by... There's a point in time where there's these two Finnish dudes that are leading the cult. You find out the cult's not a cult. They're actually a group of people trying to kill like those that have been possessed by these dark entities that have come from the dark place. Alan's locked up in prison because they think Alan's done all this cult-based killing, like cutting people open, all that sort of stuff. You find out that Alan Wake in the real world is actually Scratch.
Okay.
And he's trying to get at Saga because the clicker from the first game is a really important element. It's a light switch, and much like any paranormal fiction, like an X-Files or something like that, there is some sort of suspension of disbelief. There has to be.
No
if
kidding.
you take everything at its if you take everything like that at its face value, you just go, this is fucking stupid. But like it keeps going, and as Saga's going through trying to resolve this crime and trying to resolve the overall scenario, she keeps having people in town telling her, "Oh, it's good to see you since like your daughter died 10 years ago." But the first thing you do as you're driving to the site is she's on the phone to her husband and her daughter. So she's like, what the fuck's going on? What are you talking about? My daughter's alive. She's up in Washington. She's what? But like the story is personified in a way that makes everyone in Bright Falls think that Saga's kid is dead. She led the kid to be dead. Her husband is fucking mad pissed at her, which is not her reality. So this story that's being written by Alan in the dark place, and they're communicating through like this paranormal weird link, it goes places, man.
Sorry, the story sounds utterly ridiculous to me. Sorry, so.
Oh, it's fucking ridiculous, but the quality of it and how
the story doesn't appeal to me at all. So that's why I'm finding it very hard to think it's the best. I mean, I guarantee the writing's very good. I'm not saying it isn't, but I think this.
Look, if you want to put
I just think from my perspective, the American Arcadia, with that way that thing drove the whole thing, I just think it's.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just
I think it's a culmination of the two of us. Having American Arcadia win would not be unfair.
Considering we both finished it, I think we should probably put that one first. I mean, I may eventually play Alan Wake 2 and come back to your way of thinking, but I can't sort of really get to that point now. Obviously,
trying to describe the fucked up dumb shit. Well, not even dumb. The fucked up shit that happens in that story. And she runs. Oh, it's fucking incredible. That game is fucking amazing.
All right, so you happy with this one?
No, I'm fine.
So we have the winner of Best Story and Writing is American Arcadia. Runners up, Alan Wake 2 and Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew. We're going to take a quick break and head into the next category, which is Best Handfield. Back in a moment. And we are back. So the first category down for part 2 is Best Story and Writing. Next one is Best Handfield. This is effectively, correct if I'm wrong, sort of a category you came up with. What is your name? Is essentially mechanics. How you play the game is really controls, that sort of aspect of it. So we've got about a dozen or so nominations. We have Trepang 2, which I assume is a sequel.
No, it's actually not.
It's Trepang Squared, then, is it?
I don't know.
Anyway, so
but there's no sequel to Trepang. It's real fucking. I don't believe there's a sequel to Trepang.
Dead Space, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. That is the PC release, hence why it's on this list. Resident Evil 4, Remnant 2, Dredge, Cocoon, Lies of P, Subpar Pool, Robocop, Rogue City, and Viewfinder.
Is there anything that you want to add on that, just to make sure?
No, there is nothing.
Wonderful.
I've done all that, so we are good.
Best Handfield, the field with the hands. There we go, I did it. Ratchet and Clank plays really, really well. The DualSense stuff on PC works as it does on the PlayStation. It's great. It's not necessarily nothing we haven't experienced before because it came out 2 years ago on PlayStation 5. We could probably take it off.
And also, it's the game plays much the same as the first game. Well,
absolutely, it plays like all the Ratchet and Clanks.
Yeah, all of them. So it's not particularly new.
Doesn't mean it's not good. It's
not saying it's not
fantastic.
good. It's really good, but it's not nothing new per se. So
I enjoyed playing that.
So let's have a quick Subpar Pool. Let's have a look at that one. That one we might be able to cut into short, but it's sort of the one that's a bit of the old one out of the list, if that makes sense.
It's a nifty little. To say it's a nifty little phone game is way too reductive and almost disrespectful. You click on the cue ball, you drag back, you let it go, and the ball goes bouncing. But it just feels really good, particularly when you clack it into the different ball types they have. The warping through different teleports and all the other different obstacles and shit they've set up. It's super cool. It's not gonna. It doesn't fit with the rest of these hitters.
Yep. Alright, it's gone as well. Remnant 2.
Dead Space.
Remnant 2. That's clearly a sequel. So does that play anything better, differently than the first game? You played both of them, I think.
Incrementally better.
Okay.
But taken on its own, it plays fucking fantastically.
Okay.
Like the Souls with Guns stuff is really cool. I really dig it. Dead Space gameplay wise is very similar to the original Dead Space games. I played that with keyboard and mouse, but realistically, if you're playing with a controller, it's borderline identical.
Yeah, can imagine.
But that's not to say that that's not good. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed playing that and exploring the environment and shooting the necromorphs apart, targeting the limbs and all of that sort of stuff is still just as fun as it was when those games first came out. And you don't really see the location-based damage still. Given that Dead Space sort of popularized that idea, but it is still the building blocks of that original game, and there's refinements there. But I don't think Dead Space, because it is coming off those building blocks, I don't think it can hang.
All right, we'll
so Dead Space can go.
Is Resident Evil 4 in the same category?
No.
No? Okay.
Resident Evil 4 plays significant. I stopped playing the original. I got the Resident Evil 4 on PlayStation 2 years ago. And I got to a point where I stopped playing it because I just didn't like the actual playing of it. Like the planting of the feet, how restrictive the movement felt, all of that sort of stuff. They've modernized Resident Evil 4 in a fantastic way and added the knife parry system where if you get the villagers or the different zombie-like creatures coming at you, if you time it right, you can bust your knife out and deflect the attempts at you that they make and then bust one in them.
Okay.
So they've actually really updated it and modernized it. Now, is it that much more of an advancement or a step forward from the Resident Evil 2 remake that I really, really enjoyed about 3-4 years ago? Probably not. But it is a significant... I played through this.
Okay.
I didn't finish playing through Resident Evil 4 originally. I did not... I'm one of the few people that did not like that first Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Because I just did not like the gameplay of it.
Let's look on Dredge, Cocoon, Lies of P. It's the one that I'm not 100% familiar with. So is that
very cool Souls-like
essentially? Okay.
There's a bit of the parriness that Wo Long also incorporates. Could have maybe added Wo Long, but I don't think it would have hung anyway. It just does a really good job of sort of adapting the Souls-like formula and particularly the sort of Bloodborne-ish style. Being able to sort of modify and take different weapon parts and put them together in weird like combinations is also really useful. You can take the handle or hilt of one weapon and the blade of another, put them together, and you've got your own weapon.
Okay. Yep.
And like you get big fuck off wrenches that are like massive sledgehammers that you can use. It is a very, very, very good one of those. A fantastic one of those. But it is another one of those.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it?
So, because it is, like, for lack of a better term, such another one of those, like, for as awesome as it is, I don't think... Well, it depends on what we're looking for this. Are we looking for that originality or just purely qualitative? It's not particularly original. It's been done plenty of times. From's done it a bunch of times, and some of the other, like... Team Ninja has done it with Neo, Wo Long, all that. They've been really successful Souls-likes. This is another one.
Yep. I'll live for now. Robocop. I've done it again. Robocop Rogue City.
Did you call it Robocock again?
I did it again. I don't know. I think I'm getting...
Or Peter Weller. What did Peter Weller ever do to you?
I don't know. Doesn't deserve it at all. Anyway, you've played that game. I have not.
Yep. It is just a really good, fun, chunky, meat and potatoes first-person shooter. And because it's RoboCop, it shouldn't be anywhere... Like we just talked about it in part one with the best surprise. It shouldn't play anywhere near as good as it does. The shooting feels really, really good. There's a real weight, a real heft to the shooting. If you're busting off headshots, you are literally blowing dudes' heads off. And there's two spots on the body of enemies that are critical hits, the head and the cock.
There we go.
There you go. Much like the film where RoboCop shoots through that lady's dress to bust that dude in the balls. But then there's the other side where it's the police work investigative stuff. Like when you get into those small semi-open world sections, you use your RoboCop vision and you can see like, okay, this car's parked in front of a parking meter and the parking meter's expired. Write him a ticket.
Yep.
The criminal investigation part I found that really engaging, just that almost as engaging as just being RoboCop, tanking my way through these like factories and shit and just fucking blowing dudes away. And you can pick up motorcycles and throw them at people and they blow up. It's fucking cool. Leave it for now.
The last one is Viewfinder. We've covered this a fair bit already in part one. But yeah, just the nature of what you can do with this game and the environment interaction. I actually replayed the opening section this morning because I want to record it for best moment, which is what I did it. So, but that does show off, what this game sort of does from a mechanics perspective.
If you look at it from a pure mechanics, it's not that weird until you get a photo and lay it down, and the interaction
once you start
with the photo stuff.
like once you start doing actual stuff in the environment. So for example, let's just cut to this and quickly show. This is the opening mission. I'm going to mute it so we don't have anything from it. But you're just going through. Like, you've also got this rewind mechanic. But when you put down that first photo, and you can interact with it around the environment to see, how they've done this stuff. It is like, it's so brilliantly done.
In a way that feels like it could be a one-trick pony, but then they flip the trick on its head like 14 different ways.
Yeah, but then they do so many different things. Like, for example, we've got, the way you progress from one level to the next is through these teleporters, and sometimes they need power. They need batteries. So you go, well, shit, it needs. So if we look briefly at this, just to give a quick idea of how this thing works. Wait a second. I haven't got the best controls here. So you can see here, it's got on here, it's got 3. There's a blue light or a light lit up there. There's 2 above it that aren't lit up. So you need 3 batteries to power the teleporter. You've got 1 already there. That's convenient. You've got 1 sitting there, so you go and pick up that one. But then around the corner here, you go pick up a photo which has got another battery in it.
Yeah.
And you then go, okay, so you then go and put the battery in the environment. Put the photo into the environment, and you can walk into the photo you've just placed and get the 3rd battery you need. It's really brilliantly done. Like, it just works so well. And the things that you do and the way you interact with it makes sense. The whole thing does make sense in reality, but it's not real. But the whole, like, when you do stuff with it, it makes sense what the game does with them.
Yeah.
I think this one you just walk up, and you've just got you just walk up and go, okay, oh, where's my batteries? You got this. So I actually got an achievement here. I did this when I was playing this.
Yeah, it's great. Like, the achievements in this thing are fantastic.
Yeah. So you can see even the physics work. Like, I dropped it, and the battery just falls. You can rewind it and do it again, which is what I did here. I actually made it land on my head.
That's an achievement for that as well.
So you'll see this pop. Dunk. That's right. Doesn't record the achievement. Okay.
Yeah.
Must be OBS.
Sometimes, particularly Game Pass or Xbox achievements, I found haven't shown on the. Yeah, it's weird. But it's also when you use the photos, in order to wait things out sometimes, because sometimes those plates are weight activated.
Yes. Sometimes
you're using the photos to cut things in half. Sometimes there's a big fuck off Game Boy that you can interact with and play a game of basically Tamagotchi on.
Yeah.
It's less the actual physics, walking around picking up stuff with the mouse. Oh, okay, it's been done. But the actual interactions that you can engage in that environment is fucking ridiculous. It's fucking crazy.
It's actually really, really, really impressive what they've done. So yeah, I think I think it deserves to be on this list for at least a little bit longer.
Yes, it is a strong contender for this list.
Yep. All right, let's go back to the top and see what else we've got in the.
Take Liza P off.
Liza P off, okay.
Liza P can come off. I don't think it's fucking cool. It's a Souls-like.
Yep.
We've seen bunches of them, and a good one isn't. Yeah.
Yep. Trepang.
Same breath.
Squared or whatever this is.
Talk about Dredge.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't remember to the top of the show.
Let's talk about Trepang.
We're doing this on video as well, so we've actually got lovely cover art to look at and stuff like that. So I should have mentioned that before, but yeah.
Trepang 2 is fucking amazing. It is the first game that has gone back to the sort of first-person shooter model that Fear did, F.E.A.R from when was Fear? When did Fear come out? The original Fear came out in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been that long since someone other than those developers have seemingly put it all together. There's a sense of brutality and efficiency in the movement when you slow down time and you're running up on dudes. You're running up on these like military enemies, and you've got a big like Spaz 12 shotgun, and you are you should pull the trigger. There's this really satisfying just blood sort of explosion, and they go flying across the room. Plus, you can run up on dudes like in RoboCop, grab them, and throw them up into the roof. And that's really satisfying and fun too. The end of the first mission, there's a helicopter. You can grab your own soldiers who come to help rescue you. You can grab them and throw them into the helicopter blades. But it's a super satisfying, super tight first-person shooter that goes back to a formula that nowhere near enough people have exploited or made use of since Fear did it. I'm surprised that no one's really done that style of very, very combat-heavy, but movement-focused as well. Like first-person combat. It doesn't get done as much as it really probably should, because the first Fear was fucking amazing.
You want to just touch on Dredge earlier?
I love Dredge. I think Dredge is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just trying to when you think of what that game is in the gameplay moments, you are controlling a little ship, little fishing vessel. You've got couple of options to fish for fish. Then that drives into, if I recall, it's a quick time game essentially to get the fish up quickly or more efficiently. You can also fish for, not necessarily fishing, but you can also fish for scrap metal stuff. Dredging. That's basically the same mechanic, I think. Beyond that, though, you're not doing, this is going to sound really, really, you're not doing a real lot other than sailing the ship around. The thing that really does sort of sell that is the what's the word for it? The losing your mind mechanic that pops in if you're going too late. But beyond that, it's probably hasn't got a real lot. Versus what's already on this list, I don't think it's probably quite got enough to sort of.
I feel this is a better contender for best campaign than it is for best hand feel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because what you're doing with the controls, the moment-to-moment stuff is fine.
Yeah.
But it's what you're doing in the singularity of that experience as it comes together is stronger than how it actually plays.
Cocoon, where do you sit with that one? I'm sort of in the same boat with that one, if I'm honest.
To an extent.
To the Dredge. I mean, it's not...
very simple.
It's very simple.
You drill it down to its mechanics. It's a stick and one button.
Yeah, you're controlling a character, you're moving around with it. It's the puzzles that are that game rather than the mechanics of it, if that's a way to sort of reduce it, which is, underselling it massively, it must be said. But
there's a cleverness to those puzzles, but not an esoteric... They're not so esoterically designed where they don't make sense or it feels restrictive in its solution. That's one of the things that is a strong suit, but is that more the way it feels or the actual specific gameplay, or is that more a function of the progression, the campaign, all of that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Arguably, it's probably more the latter.
Yeah.
It is very satisfying picking up those globes, putting them down and jumping in them, though. That's pretty cool.
I think for now we can probably
it probably doesn't hang.
It doesn't get rid of that one. So what we're now left with after getting rid of those half dozen, we've got Trepang 2, which I just checked is not a sequel. They just called it that for whatever reason. Go figure.
No.
Resident Evil 4, Remnant 2, Robocop. I've done it again. What is it? Robocop.
What did Peter Weller do to you, Graham?
I have no idea. Hopefully it doesn't get nominated
Fucking
again.
hell.
Robocop Rogue City. I think I'm trying to get the Rogue City out too quickly. Anyway. And Viewfinder is our remaining nominee.
We're going to cut 2.
Sorry?
We've got to cut 2. If we're talking about a first-person shooter, the combat-focused first-person shooter, all that sort of stuff, I feel Trepang 2 does the first-person combat not way better. It's not substantially better, but it does it better than RoboCop.
Mm-hmm.
While RoboCop has those investigative moments, it's again less about the actual moment-to-moment feel and what you're doing with that. So from a more campaign perspective, than what you're actually doing.
The actual mechanics of it are relatively straightforward per se. Yep.
Yeah. So the feel of the actual, because RoboCop is RoboCop and that slow plodding sort of tank that he is, arguably it knocks it a little bit compared to how fluid and how fast the motion in Trepang 2 actually is. There's a knock on Trepang 2 when it comes to campaign where you fight. I don't know why devs of first-person shooters can't not get away from there's just military dudes here to kill, because Far Cry does it, a bunch of other games do it. They just throw in like monsters or ghosts and shit you have to fight. It happened in Fear too. But anyway, RoboCop can probably go.
Okay. So where are you sitting? I mean, is this category? I mean, I think Viewfinder has to be in the top 3.
Yep, I agree.
I think from your description, I think you're probably heavily leaning towards Trepang 2 should be in that top 3. Maybe?
I am.
So therefore, it's down to Resident Evil 4 and Remnant 2 as to which one gets in and which one gets cut to the curb.
Remnant 2, while the actual mechanics and the moment-to-moment shooting and all that sort of stuff feels really good, particularly when you get different weapons and there's an inventiveness to some of the weapons that you can find. Sometimes those weapons are a motherfucker to find. I had to look up quite a few of them. But again, while the mechanics are strong, it's what you're doing with those mechanics as you're progressing through. It's probably that slight bit stronger in campaign than it is here.
So should we cut that then?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Cut that one. I think Viewfinder wins. My personal opinion, but that's just me.
I can't argue that.
I think it's just so impressive what they've done with that game to make it.
The fact that it all works and comes together, there's plenty of opportunities to break.
It, and the way that game plays is, it's actually like it plays better than the campaign is. That's one of the weird ones. It's actually reverse of some of the songs we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not got a particularly strong.
It's those moment-to-moment things of putting that shit down, walking,
and going, what the fuck? That works? That kind of stuff. And that's really, just going, wow, that works, and just going, wow.
I've said it a few times. The achievements and the things you get achievements for, while a lot of them are either hidden or not readily apparent, when you look up the guides and you actively do them, it's super fucking cool what they've done.
Yeah. All right.
But it's that minute-to-minute thing of what you're doing in the environment that makes that such a strength.
Yep. So the winner of Best Hand Feel is Viewfinder with runners-up, Trepang 2 and Resident Evil 4 and he's got some runners honorable mentions as well. So, best new character or NPC. So this is either a character that you play as in the game itself, or you meet along the way and you just interact with them.
And they have not been in a game since.
They've not been in a game since, or they're new. Like they're new for even in a sequel. You can have, like, for example, we've got Talos Principle II on this list. That's got new characters in that game. So we've got new games in it. So
I was tempted to put RoboCop on here because it's like this is the first time they've made RoboCop actually worthwhile.
But not the first time.
RoboCop was also in Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, he's also been in multiple games. So it's not different.
And he has. I mean, most of those games have been dog shit, but still.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not going to read through all the nominations because they're actually specific to characters. So we're just going to. You got anything to add to this before we dive in? Nope. All right, let's dive in. So what we do have is, let's go down. We've got 2 from Dave the Diver. We've got Dave the Diver.
Just run it down from top to bottom.
Okay, we'll do that. So we've got Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew. I could have picked literally all of them, but that would have been like 9 characters. I wasn't going to do that, so I've just picked the main one, which is Afia Montecarlo, the character you play as essentially from the beginning. Is the main driving force. So she's known as the Navigator.
Could you say the crew as a cumulative character?
No, they're so individual from each other. They've got so much backstory stuff you'd have to.
But that's what. Or do you think that gives it maybe an unfair advantage? And
if you were to do them as if you were to do them as all in one big, it'd win by a handshake. It'd just win by so much because there's 9.
Win by a handshake. I've never heard that before.
Win by a long way. Because there essentially
would be a foot in the ass.
There would effectively be 11 characters I could nominate as a part of the whole thing. So
okay.
No, it's not really, wouldn't be fair for the category. We've got Dave from Dave the Diver. We have Bancho from Dave the Diver. We have Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2. We have, is it Chai?
Yep.
From Hi-Fi Rush. We have Squishy from Jusant. We have, which is just so people who are watching, that's Squishy right there, little character.
Oh, you actually figured out who Squishy was. Awesome.
Yeah. I knew what he was. Yeah.
I initially had it as Lil Squishy, but then
he doesn't actually have a name. He's not going to name. Like, there's no dialogue in that game at all, so there's no naming for it. But yeah.
And the achievements barely naming. The achievements just give him like the sort of spatial description.
Yeah. We have Ricky, who is a sock puppet from My Friendly Neighborhood. Prince Florian from Super Mario Wonders.
So real quick, scroll back up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
See the little caterpillar on Luigi's back?
Little caterpillar. Oh, yeah, down there. Yep.
Yep, that's Prince Florian.
Oh, that's him. All right, cool. Ulysses Washington from RoboCop. Oh, you got it right.
Well done.
Rogue City, who apparently wants to be a cop, made an OCB plant, but proves himself, as written by description by Steve.
I'll explain that more later.
Explain that later. Another one from Hi-Fi Rush, Peppermint, who I think is that.
The white-haired chick next to Chai in the key art.
That one there? I think that's one there.
Yep.
Another one from the Hi-Fi Rush, which is Seb-AAA, the noir detective. I have no
Do you
idea.
remember that character?
I don't think I've played enough to see that character, so I'm not too sure.
Oh, okay.
That's that one. Pickles, also from RoboCop. Got to be really careful when I say that now. Talos Principle II, we've got Melville. Again, that's sort of in a similar bracket to the Shadow Gambit from the top. There's probably half a dozen characters you can name from that game as being one. But Melville is this really cranky and sarcastic engineer that's in the game. She's got some really good dialogue, and I just really like her as a character.
I like robots getting personified and being sarcastic.
Yeah, she's really...
That concept to me is really funny.
Yeah, she's just really, really dry in some of her humour as well. We've got two from American Arcadia. We've got the main character, Trevor Hills, and Angela Solano. And that is our list of 15 nominations. So we don't have just before we go any further, we don't have any rules about they're going to be one per game. Like we could with one per franchise, it could be two in the two. We could name all. Trevor Hills and Angela could both get in top three. So there's nothing that stops that from happening. We could, but we're probably not. But that's just saying we don't have that. We don't have a restriction on who gets through the top three. It is just a character that gets through. So back to Super Mario Wonder, you were saying. Back to here. Yep.
Prince Florian is a cute little caterpillar. He's like, hey, this is great. Get rid of him.
Get rid of him. Yeah.
He's not going to hang. He's just a cute little caterpillar. He's fucking cool. He is not on the level of Chorizo from Far Cry 6. Don't you dare take Squishy.
I was just going to say, Squishy was not a character that has a lot to do with, but you don't. But no, I wasn't going to.
Squishy is basically the Chorizo of 2023.
Yeah.
And we stated those two. Like, he does even less than Chorizo does. Fuck.
Yeah.
Best character ever.
I think if we're going to, I think of the two from American Arcadia, I think Trevor Hills is the one that drives that the most. So
I agree.
So I think we might just get rid of.
He's the stronger character too.
Yeah,
the evolution of Trevor across the course of the game.
Yeah, is like he goes from what the hell's going on? What are you doing? Making me do this for? To
he starts very just everyman.
Yeah, like just coming to the job, doing his job, going back home. Sort of evolves into essentially kind of a hero of the story. So.
And then his freak out of what the fuck's going on, and his freak out's of what's going? And just punching that dude. It's fucking great.
Yeah. And then we'll go. Yeah, so we'll get rid of Angela Solino for the moment. Dave the Diver, Dave and/or Bancho.
Bancho's a better character.
Bancho, I think, is a better character, even though you play as. I think the thing that sells Bancho is those cutscenes where he's doing his enhancing stuff. They are just so good. I
like his resolute solidarity in I'm gonna make fucking food that I think is good, and fuck you if you don't like it.
Yeah, and not that you don't like it. I don't care what the norms are for this way of doing things. I'm just gonna do my own thing. I know it works. You'll find out that it works too because you'll like it. So yeah. So we'll get rid of Dave the Diver from that one. I do like his thumbs up stuff that he does. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, like some of his emotes.
Yeah. Really good. So of the three, I think it's three from Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, 3 from Hi-Fi Rush.
Which one was there? One that stands out above the three of them?
Chai, for as lovable as an idiot he is, he's not the strongest character from that game for mine.
He's the main character you play as, isn't he, from memory?
He is, yes.
Yeah, okay.
He is a dumb fuck. He is an incredibly lovable dumb fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think if we're leaning towards, because I don't think any one game will have multiple characters.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
And he's not the one.
Yep. All right. So that leaves us with Hi-Fi Rush. That leaves us with
Peppermint and Seba.
And Seba.
So Seba.
Mm-hmm. Is he in the cover art here at all?
No.
No, he's not. Okay.
No, and that's where it becomes difficult, because you only see Seb art if you're running around and trying to explore some of the nooks and crannies of some of the action levels you do.
Okay.
And you'll see him off to the side, and he's just got, when you talk to him, he's got these really long-winded, like, noir-based soliloquy, like, monologues, where he's just talking about how rough everything is, how fucked up the crime he's looking at is, and just playing into that noir sort of stereotype in a really funny way, considering, A, what crime do you see outside of Chai freaking out and breaking loose of everything?
Mm-hmm.
And B, he's completely black and white, and like the noir Spider-Man from Spider-Verse, in this incredibly colorful, bright, vibrant universe. He's just this black and white, like, detective that just is bummed about everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's really funny. He's out. I think Peppermint's the stronger character.
I just found a video of him, so I could play that if you want to see it.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, just give me 2 seconds. I shall get it working on it. So you want to talk about Peppermint while I get this sorted out?
So Peppermint is the character that you come across in Hi-Fi Rush that essentially breaks you out when Chai finds out that, like, he's got this guitar and he's able to bash stuff, and he's like, wait, what's going on here? Peppermint is the sort of punk rock resistance leader who guides you through that escape and motivates Chai to want to basically burn it down.
Yeah, you meet her you meet her really early on, don't you? Yeah.
And she's got that cool cat, and I don't even like cats. But yeah, she does play into some of that punk rock stereotype a little bit of, yeah, fuck the man, but like when you get to know her, she's very feminine, which she doesn't really skew to that very feminine. There is the hiding of feelings a little bit, like is stereotypical of that punk rock girl character.
Mm.
But in a way, she does it more to focus her efforts on bringing down the corporation that is running everything into the ground and fucking things over.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think she's a much stronger character, but Seba is great.
Seba, let's have a look at this.
Bigger, stronger. Is this promo for Rekka or motivation for the rest of us?
Oh, I forgot he's cold.
I
thought he was just black and white.
And look at you, showing off.
Is this MHR matter?
Figures you don't see it. You think this encourages them? Nah, it's just a reminder. You don't have what it takes. The workers here need to know they ain't ever getting out of that hole they dug themselves into. This world is sick, dark, sad.
But we are
I actually think it would have been better if he was solely black and white.
Impossible. We just mask the reality, give an illusion we care. We can't change anything. The cards are stacked too high against us. This poster stays. It says the truth. Another day, another mess that needs to be cleaned up. The cost of progress, it looks like. This is gonna be bad for morale. Can't see anybody liking this. Surprised no one put a claim in, but I need to take this to the top. We need bigger disposal chutes. These get clogged too easily. Someone might trip on these things, get hurt. I can almost see the lawsuit.
There is so much oil.
You're damn right. And all this oil means one slippery slope. But I'll get it.
Okay. I do like that. That's a good character, but yeah.
It is very noir.
Yeah.
Like, it fits very much into that noir, like, style.
Yeah.
But, yeah. As cool as it is, he's out.
Yep. Alright, so after cutting those half 5 characters, we've got Fia Montecardo, the Navigator from Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. Bancho from Dave the Diver. Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2. We'll get back to that character in a moment. Squishy from Jusant. Ricky the Sock Puppet from My Friendly Neighborhood. Ulysses Washington from RoboCop. Peppermint from Hi-Fi Rush. Pickles from RoboCop. Melville from the Talos Principle II. And Trevor Hills from American Arcadia. What about the two you've got from RoboCop?
From RoboCop. Pickles is a new kid who's also a police informant.
Okay.
He was an informant for an officer that is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And as RoboCop, you're trying to figure out, A, why he's missing or what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
In that semi-open world part I mentioned earlier, you actually come across that officer's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she fucking hates Pickles because he's a new kid and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
You later find that officer's son down an alley, and he's like trying to use a gun so that he can protect his mom and so he can find out whatever happened to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Pickles takes a real investment in that. It is undercut by the fact that his name's Pickles.
Yeah.
But he has this real growth, and there's a time like towards the end of the game where OCP really just goes nuts trying to crack down on everything and just sending out all the different law enforcement bots and security units and all that shit they've got. Pickles stays back at the actual police station with Ann Lewis, who just got out of hospital from being shot. And Pickles is like taking phone calls from members of the public, patching some of them through to RoboCop. And then after that, he's like, yo, shit is fucked. And it's like, I see some bad shit on the street, but shit is fucked. And he goes through this evolution, and he becomes like a community outreach officer or some shit, and gets off the skag.
Yeah, okay.
Ulysses Washington is a guy that Max... I can't remember the dude's name. He's an asshole from OCP, who is the technological company that originally made RoboCop and all that sort of stuff. He wanted to be a cop, but failed the physical... tests and all that sort of stuff. This Max dude brings Ulysses in as RoboCop's handler.
Okay.
So he can monitor RoboCop and report back to OCP what's happening with him because RoboCop's glitching out and having memories come back and all that sort of stuff. But there's moments where, like, RoboCop sort of takes him under his wing a little bit, takes him to the shooting range and helps him get his guns sorted out and figures out his gun's fucked. He goes through a bunch of hazing from the cops who are just like, you're some OCP rat, fuck you, man. RoboCop takes him out in the field and gets him to do, like, police training.
Yeah, okay.
Showing him how to investigate crimes and what to do in certain circumstances and stuff like that. And he proves himself to be an actual really, really solid cop, even though he didn't quite meet that physical bar. So once everything comes to an end, he's like, I'm going to do the cop shit propers. This is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. He's a really good character. The unfortunate part for Ulysses Washington, there isn't a part where RoboCop says, Ulysses! Because as RoboCop and Ann Lewis are walking through a factory, a bunch of new kids in a concert, and then Ann Lewis asks the name of the informant, RoboCop goes, Pickles! And it's fucking hilarious.
Okay. That is good.
I don't think the RoboCop characters are going to make it, to be honest.
Alright, so we'll get rid of
I like the arc of Pickles more than I like the arc of Ulysses Washington. But the fact, again, that we're able to say these things like character arc, development, all of this sort of shit about a fucking RoboCop game is incredible.
Yep. So we'll get rid of Ulysses Washington to begin with, so we'll land to one from that game. But he may eventually not be both of them, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think Pickles is going to make it, sadly.
Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2.
So, Saga is the FBI agent that you play...
Assuming that one there.
Yep.
That's her in the cover right there.
You play as for half the game.
Okay.
And she is... To an extent, she is that that personification of the tough as nails female cop who's not going to take shit. But not in a way where she's straight up insulting people. She's just very determined to do the best job that she can. She is at least black or at least partially Hispanic. It doesn't quite touch on which one she is, but she also has some Norse background. But the game doesn't really harp on that fact. which is really. I was going to put Janina Gavinka's character here as well, but I couldn't. I didn't know if she showed up in any DLC for Control or anything like that because she was a really cool character as well. But Saga is just a really strong female character, person of color, written really well, performed incredibly well, and basically works super hard, and basically goes, "I am going to do this," and has a resolute determination where the stereotype would be she crumbles at some point and it all comes down, but she's a very interesting intellectual character. When you're in her mind place and you're sorting out the different boards, the different cases on this pin-up board with like string and stuff like that, she's very determined and has a very methodical sort of, I guess, method. And it turns out she's a seal, which is where she can talk to people inside this mind place and sort of get in their heads a little bit. So there is a bit of that paranormal, oh, she has an ability, but it doesn't really play on that. Like, she's like, I can save the world now.
Yeah, okay, yep.
She's just like, okay, this is going to help me do my job a lot better. I'm going to do my job a lot better. I'm going to be a good mum. But the mum part, it's not her entire identity either. I just think she's a really strong, well-written female character. And the female character is not even the point. She's a strong, well-written character that is performed incredibly well.
All right, Ricky, the sock puppet from My Friendly Neighborhood.
So you're a technician who rocks up to the studio for My Friendly Neighborhood, trying to fix whatever broadcast issue is going on, and you figure, like, as you walk in, you're like, something's not right here. And Ricky pops out, and he's the one who tells you some bits and pieces about what's going on a little bit, and gives you some, like, he's sort of the main quest giver to a point. Like, you should go here to do this, and this will get us back on the air. And it's his determination to get My Friendly Neighborhood back on the air, despite the fact the puppets have all gone nuts.
Is that Ricky in the out cart there?
No.
Oh, okay, that's not.
That's just one of the random puppets that's in the actual, like, environment. That just goes, ah! Ricky's just a really clever, funny little sock puppet that has a really cool personality, a really interesting, funny personality. He's a sock puppet. Despite having a really cool, funny personality, I don't think he's going to make it. So, bye, Ricky.
Bye, Ricky.
Bye, Ricky.
Right. So who will now? So we've got Afia Monticato from the Navigator from Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, Bancho from Dave the Diver, Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2, Squishy from Jusant, Peppermint from Hi-Fi Rush, Pickles from RoboCop, Melville, the cranky and sarcastic engineer from the Talos Principle II, and Trevor Hills from American Arcadia. I'm going to get rid of, not get rid of is a bad term to use, but I'm going to drop Melville from Talos Principle II. I think based on what we've got so far, they're not going to get to top 3. Because my top 3 at the moment is Afia Monticato, Trevor Hills, and probably Squishy, I think.
Saga.
You think Saga? Okay.
Yep. I was just about to say, before you cut Melville, I was just about to say, Squishy, for as lovely and cute and cuddly as that little guy is, and you can throw him in the air and give him hugs and all that sort of stuff, he's practically useless.
Yeah.
He does pee in the environment, so that's cool. That's useful, but he's nowhere near as useful as Chorizo.
Yeah,
for as cool and cute as that.
Yeah, in terms of a well-rounded character, he's not really that. He's not really a well-rounded character.
Chorizo really did throw the balance on cute characters in video games.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not. Yeah, and it's I can go. I can see that.
I like Squishy though.
So let's just put this list up to the top 3 as we think it should be, which should basically be. There it is. It's the top 3 we have at the moment, not necessarily sorted. Is with Shadow Gambit, Afia Monticato, Trevor Hills from American Arcadia, Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 3. If you're happy with that as a top 3 to begin with, not a sorted
I
run,
don't
but
think there's enough of a character for Bancho to hang.
No, I don't think so either.
So we'll cut him.
That leaves us with Peppermint on the outside looking in from Hi-Fi Rush.
And Pickles.
And Pickles from RoboCop.
I like Pickles, but he's also kind of a piece of shit, and he gets pissed at you when you don't give him his money, like the money he got from stolen goods to go buy Nuke.
Okay.
So because RoboCop upheld the law and did a good thing as a friend, Pickles turned around and said, "You're not my friend, fuck you." So cut Pickles.
Okay. And Peppermint from Hi-Fi Rush, do they make it into the top 3? I'm probably thinking not.
I can't come up, like, you have very strong feelings for Afia Montecarlo. I have very strong feelings for Saga Anderson. We both think that Trevor is a very good character. Probably not the winner, but
No,
I
probably
think
not.
he's a very good character for the top 3. I don't see a way for Peppermint to get in unless we want to go top 3 all-female characters.
I'm not. No.
That would be an interesting, cool little tweak, but I don't think it's worth trying to force Trevor out.
No.
Peppermint's cool, but she does. There's an element to which you can make the criticism of she's just the normal, stereotypical punk rock chick. She's not. She's more than that.
No.
But she does play into that a bit.
Yep.
Cut Peppermint.
Cut Peppermint. All right.
Bye, Peppermint. I do like that every character in that game is basically the name of a T.
Oh yeah, good, cool. Yeah, okay. Okay, we are left with our 3 remaining ones, yet to be sorted. Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew with Afia Montecarlo, American Arcadia and Trevor Hills, and Alan Wake 2 with Saga Anderson. I'm thinking that we probably should put the character we both think. I'm thinking maybe that. So that would be Trevor Hills at the top, because we both played the game. That's the one. That's why I'm putting it ahead of everything. And then we'll have, saying Afia Montecarlo and Alan Wake 2, or Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2 is in the runners up.
I'll be honest.
Trevor Hills is a really good, solid character. So
he is. He's a very, very good, solid character. He's one of the 3 best characters of the year. I do not think he is the best new character of the year.
Yeah, I'm not going to have an Alan Wake win the other fucking character. Sorry.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying this purely to get Saga in. I'm not saying this purely to get Saga to win. I think there is a qualitative argument for Saga to be higher, but I don't think Trevor is stronger than either of the other 2.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm not stamping my feet and saying Saga has to win. This is not about trying to get Alan Wake 2 to win. For me personally, it would be either Saga or what I saw of Shadow Gambit and what I know of Shadow Gambit, it would be Afia Montecarlo.
Okay, so if you're happy with that, then I will swap those 2 round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought with us both, I was just saying, with both of us playing the completion American.
I understand the logic.
The logic was that, so.
I just think from a strength perspective, it's not quite there.
Not quite there. Yeah. So not that it really matters.
My personal one would probably be Saga, like I said.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I've seen enough of Afia Montecarlo to know that she is a very strong character in and of herself.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I'm happy with that.
And it's like a sort of Jamaican character that's not a fucking caricature.
No, exactly. No, the whole thing is it's not.
It just plays the Caribbean sort of vibe just straight. It doesn't go, hey man, look at me, man.
Yeah, she doesn't do any of that stuff at all. No, it's just that's who she is.
Talking about getting irie and shit.
Alrighty, let's lock that one in. So, winner of Best New Character or NPC is Afia Montecarlo from The Cursed Crew, Shadow Gambit The Cursed Crew. Runners up is Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2 and Trevor Hills from American Arcadia. Move on to the next category. Poor Squishy. Which is Best Campaign. So this is just the straight up Best Campaign. So this is the whole thing, the story, the lore behind every stuff. It's got all that sort of stuff in it.
Set pieces and all
Set
that sort of
pieces.
stuff.
Not necessarily the gameplay, not necessarily what you're doing moment to moment. It is essentially what drives you forward through it.
That can be a consideration.
Can be consideration, and I've just realised we probably should add one more game to this list. I just realised we just check.
The reason I put this in, so I put this and Best Handfeel in, because when we talk about when we go through these awards, we talk very much about story, music, presentation elements, stuff like that. But we never really talk about the gameplay, the moment to moment. Like elements of actually physically playing the game, the things that make games unique. We never talk about those.
No, good call.
And like even when you look at other sites and other places, Game of the Year, they might do like genre awards and stuff like that, but they still don't really focus on like what's the best game to play. Like devoid of, take story, take everything else out. What is the thing that is the most interesting game to actively sit down and do this thing in?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I wanted to give some props to that. So, like, with that being said, I'm going to say, for as much as I love Alan Wake 2, its gameplay is not the strength.
You had to talk about the campaign? Haven't even...
sorry.
Let me go through the nominations first. So this is best campaign.
Yeah.
So we have 20. A lot. We have Street Fighter 6, Dead Space, Diablo 4, Resident Evil 4, Miasma Chronicles, Showgunners, System Shock, Trepang 2, My Friendly Neighborhood, Dave the Diver, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Cocoon, Remnant 2, Lies of P, Alan Wake 2, Leica Age Through Blood, RoboCop Rogue City, Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, and American Arcadia is the last nomination. So
I take back what I said. I don't want to take Alan Wake 2 off yet.
Alrighty.
I think Dead Space
So
System Shock...
So what you're going to say, give it to Alan Wake. I don't realise I cut you off, but let's go down to Alan Wake, which is way down the bottom somewhere. Where is it? There it is.
I don't think the gameplay is Alan Wake's strongest suit, but I think to an extent, when we talk about campaign, you're talking about the inhibiting of the world, the way the story combines with the gameplay to make that overall experience and the set pieces and everything like that you engage with. I was going to say, because I don't think the gameplay of Alan Wake is its strongest suit, it's good. I would put it on par with maybe just under Resident Evil 4 from a gameplay perspective. But there's a part, I don't think that, I was thinking initially that would be enough to take it off, and it may not even make the top 3 because of that. I was initially going to say, let's get rid of it, but I don't want to get rid of it just yet because I think there's other conversations to have ahead of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would have been very surprised you literally taking it out of the board. The first game off the board would have been that one.
I saw your reaction, like, I don't want another fucking Alan Wake 2 winner. I'm like,
no, it's not that. It's just that, I mean, it's these games, like, the Game Awards is that we do is hard because I don't play the game you play, you don't play the game I play.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is I don't want a game that you play to win absolutely everything, or a game I play to win.
No.
It needs to be a site-based award, and that's when one game sort of takes over. It needs to be just a bit balanced out a bit. That's a bit artificial. I get that, but yeah.
What I was going to say is, I think System Shock and Dead Space having very much the roots of those games be in the remake nature that they are, and the evolution of the gameplay not being as extreme
as the
Resident Evil 4. Yeah. If we're talking a remake staying in this category for best campaign, while I really enjoyed, I played through Dead Space twice. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't enjoy the campaign and what you were doing moment to moment, the story wrapped around and all that sort of stuff. I think if we're looking from a best campaign, best overall experience, the fact that those two have sort of been done before already, I think it would be a little hollow having either of those two there.
So of all the 3 that are essentially remakes, for want of a better term,
Resident Evil 4 would be the one to keep for now.
Would be the one of the 3 to keep if we're going to do that as a thing. Okay. Let's just go through an order. Let's just go through an order since we're doing that. So, top one is Street Fighter 6.
That campaign's fucking ridiculous in the best way.
But it is still reductive. It is still just a straight up fighting game as it was in the past. So, is this really a story that's where it sells? Really shines?
It's that campaign, the world tour mode where you're running around that city.
That thing that's different, isn't it? That's the that's
what I mean is the ridiculous part.
Yeah,
when you get down to the actual
moment to moment
every interaction beyond talking to someone,
it's just a fight.
It's Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But it's that running around the city, and there's exploration elements where you can climb up ladders and try and get your way across all these different platforms to get to little secret items and shit like that. And it plays it out in a really sort of interesting way. I don't think it's cuttable yet.
No, I don't think it is either. Dead Space. Back to
that
your
is.
That is. So we won't cut it just yet. But
as much as I love Dead Space, I love that game.
Yeah, we won't cut it just yet, but it's probably one of the first ones we cut. We won't cut it just yet.
Do it.
No, do
it now.
Okay, do it now. All right. Diablo 4. This probably suffers from. It's clearly a sequel to 3 other really excellent games.
Yep.
The gameplay you're doing moment to moment is pretty much what you've always done moment to moment. The difference is.
You click on stuff and it blows up.
Yep, you've got that as the main mechanic. You've got different skills from the previous games. They restructured the skills setup altogether. I don't think they did that for the best. I really had much more fun playing Diablo 3 than I had playing Diablo 4. I did not finish it, the story. I may go back to it, I may not. So I found the story stuff with those games has always been a bit supernatural. Well, has been always supernatural with the demons and shit like that. Not that that's a bad thing per se. So I think this game won't make top 3 anyway. I don't think it'll make anywhere near top 3.
We didn't put Lorath from Diablo 4 in Best New Character.
No, okay.
No, he wouldn't have made it anyway. I think the seasonal stuff, sort of like the seasonal stuff and the changes and balance adjustments they made to Diablo 4, kind of fuck it into the dirt a little bit too.
Which is when they buff and rebuff and debuff constantly throughout for over the period of time. If I went back in that game now and played my barbarian character, I don't know if they're going to be better or worse than what was when I first played it, 6 months ago, because they've buffed and debuffed and rebalanced. So yeah, I mean, I think which is
the teleporting out of the dungeons that fucks it for me.
Okay.
I mean, that'd take like 3 seconds longer for some dumb reason.
Yep. So
the campaign is very good. It's it's not going to be a best. I enjoyed it. I played a fuckload of it. But it's not getting through.
Yep. Resident Evil 4, we'll keep that on the moment list for the time being. We've already covered that. Miasma Chronicles, I really enjoyed playing this for the bit that I did, and I will eventually get back to it. You obviously finished it. What would be...
I was going to say, we've literally got 2 very similar games one after the other for this one. We've got Miasma Chronicles and Shadowgunners. I would take Miasma Chronicles over Shadowgunners. The exploration elements in that are way stronger.
Yeah, okay.
And there is that stealth component where you're forced into doing it.
Yeah, because you
but
just...
it's still really...
To explain what Steve's getting at is you are having sort of open world, quote-unquote, ability to move between combat set pieces. What that allows you to do is you can effectively sneak up on your combat scenarios and put one of your characters on one side of the map and one character on this, and then you can actually use the abilities of those characters to take out enemies before you even start the combat experience as a whole. They did that with Mutant Year Zero. That was where they first did it, and that was really, really cool. They did it with the other one, Corruption
20, whatever it is.
49, whatever year it was, that they called it after. This was like the same gameplay mechanics of that one, so it's really, really good.
I feel like they made it way too essential in this, because if you fuck up and miss, or if you hit someone but don't kill them, then you're in a really unbalanced combat encounter.
Yeah, probably that's the one thing.
That's a fucker to get out of.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
but
I really can't. I really liked the setting of that game when I played it.
Oh yeah.
And the characters they created are like, there's a mayor of that city that's basically a hit in a jar, and it's fucking awesome. And and his cigarette just comes out of the side of the jar. It's fucking it's really, really cool stuff. But
it is super satisfying skulking around those areas and sniping dudes when you've got a good sniper rifle, the silence to take fools out.
Yeah.
But so I would take Miasma Chronicles over Showgunners from that instance.
Yep.
Because while it's fun.
Yeah, sorry.
While it's fun to explore the environment in Showgunners, you don't really have that ability to take out people and make those combat encounters easier for you.
Yep.
The combat encounters in Showgunners are not as hard as the ones in Miasma Chronicles. They're nowhere near as unbalanced.
Yeah, okay.
They're very winnable. Very winnable without almost without taking damage sometimes.
Okay.
But Showgunners can go, but I also think in the same breath, because of the necessity of that stealthing and taking fools out, while the exploration is really enjoyable, the sheer necessity of having to stealth out people really can fuck you over in Miasma Chronicles if it goes badly. If you get a bad dice roll, you're in a fucked up situation. You may as well just reload.
Yeah, yep.
So I would maybe take Miasma Chronicles out too.
Yep. You mentioned System Shock can probably go as well.
Yep. I never played the original, so I don't know it well enough, but it's really enjoyable. The lack of guidance in that campaign is a modernization element that they really should have possibly added an option for at least.
Yeah.
Because you have no fucking idea what you're doing unless you know what to do, or you stumble into it.
Yep. Trepang Squared, Trepang 2.
For much the same reason as I had it in Best Hand Feel, it is a really fun, entertaining, engaging, fast-paced combat sort of game.
So how's it
level
different?
based.
How's it different from a Doom game, which I would based on your description could be considered the same? Is it very similar to a Doom?
It is.
The more recent Dooms, I should say, more than anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar, less secrets.
Okay.
And obviously you're fighting soldiers instead of demons, so there's a bit of an AI difference in like behavior.
Yep.
There is a difference in the visceral violence that you're engaging in.
Mm-hmm.
While you'd never say that Doom 2016. Not that I haven't played Eternal yet. I need to get to that. But there's a real visceral violence to 2016's Doom.
Oh, absolutely. When you're ripping,
but this is a very different style.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of coordination, sort of special forcesness of it all. And the way in which the set pieces are designed to work as combat scenarios, not just with the enemies and the different types of enemies you run into and how you engage with that combat puzzle, but it's the way in which those set pieces use the environmental design. And there are, you can sort of skulk around and try and snipe dudes out, or you can just run in with dual shotguns, laughing like a fucking maniac, throwing grenades and just busting everyone in the head.
Yeah, yep.
And you can use your power, your abilities, run up, grab dude, snap his neck. So it's the strength of the set pieces as you progress through that game that make it its strength.
We'll keep it for now. My Friendly Neighborhood.
I talked about this on part one. The fact that it's a first-person Resident Evil set in essentially Sesame Street gone wrong. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it. It is not going to make a top 3, not amongst these killers.
Yep. All right. We've both played Day of the Dove. We'll come back to that.
That is a very strong. That is a very strong.
Very strong for top 3. I would probably die on a hill for that game being a top 3 in this category.
I would not have no problem with that.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. This is the PC release.
Just really quickly, this is the sort of category that I wanted for a Dave the Diver.
Yes, yeah.
Because it is all about that culmination of the entire experience coming together. While the pieces may not be world class, the way it's all put together fucking is.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart suffers from the Dead Space problem in that it's already existed.
Yep.
It was great. I loved it. I wouldn't have played as much of it as I did if I didn't.
Yep.
It's gone.
Yep. Cocoon, we've covered enough so far. This episode, we'll move on to Remnant 2.
I think the nature, the different things, the different weapons, the different archetypes, all of the different things you can pick up and equip and find on a surface level, it seems very basic. It's sort of machine gun and stuff like that, but you get some really weird, fantastical weapons that are really quite interesting. The combat, because it has that Souls-like vibe, is if you don't enjoy that combat, you're not going to actually stick to it. So the moment-to-moment stuff, is super, super cool. Where it falls down, perhaps in a category like this, is the need to look up what you need to do to get those weapons or to get those archetypes and stuff like that. But it's super interesting the way which it's put together. One of the archetypes couldn't be found unless it was data mined.
Oh, okay.
There's some super interesting stuff going on here, but there's that really interesting stuff might get missed.
Yeah,
it's because it is that Souls-like. There's a sort of continuum you can sort of use. Elden Ring's up one end because it is so free, so directionless, so open. You could go everywhere, do anything, and you'll probably get stomped doing so. But you can go, all right, I'm sucking at this boss, I'm going to go somewhere else. And then you got Sekiro, which is very much tunnel vision, very much one path, go.
Yeah,
work your way through, skill your way out.
Very linear, yeah.
Yeah. Remnant 2 sort of sits in that middle zone. But while I really, really enjoyed it, the nature of some of that stuff, for me, it was super interesting how it all came together and how hidden some of that stuff was and finding it. And because I had mine open for co-op, drop in, drop out, one of the way to get the Chicago typewriter, which is a hidden weapon that came back from the first game. I ended up accidentally stumbling on the description online how to do it, and it made no sense. But this dude jumped in and like literally was jumping around and showing me the path without even me realizing that was the path. So when I got the key to open the door he was pointing at, I'm like, I'm going to go back that way that dude showed me. Oh shit, it's the Chicago typewriter.
Okay.
So they're like, having people drop in, drop out as well really does make a difference to that experience. From a campaign perspective, given the heavy hitters we've got, and we also don't have Dredge on this list. How the fuck did that happen?
Good call. Moment, please. Oh, you want to just go at it?
No, I'll do it.
You're doing yours. So how does how does Lies of P sit in it too? Because it's a similar-ish game to Remnant 2, is it not? Is it still a Souls-like?
I mean, it's a Souls-like.
Souls-like now is getting incredibly broad in its thing.
Yeah.
Because it's now got way more sort of subgenres than that. But so is that sort of in the same sort of boat in a way as Remnant 2?
Lies of P is closer to a spiritual successor to Bloodborne than it is that openness. There's a bit of openness to Remnant 2, and there's multiple pathways and shit like that. Remnant 2, to an extent, is a little more survivable. And you have that opportunity for people to drop in, drop out, and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean, looking at what we've got, the thing that is going to hold back either of these two games is the fact that they are Souls-likes. And when we've got David Diver, Cocoon, Dredge, and stuff like that, I just can't see
we've got a lot of original stuff in this game, in this category,
and also things that both you and I have will like to engage in.
Yeah, and have both played.
You're never going to play Remnant 2 or Lies of P.
No, never. No.
So, like, from a cumulative decision-making perspective, I don't think either of the campaigns are just strong enough, in isolation, to be better than some of the other games we've got. And then there's the U factor.
Yep. The U.
So take sounds harsh.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. You fucking Luddite. Anyway, take Remnant 2 and Lies of P off. I don't think either of them will hang in this conversation.
Yep. We've discussed Alan Wake a lot so far, so we'll come back to that one.
Yep.
Laker Age Through Buzz, we've discussed that in the first category of... No.
We discussed it a couple of times.
Like
surprise
in
and
part
looking
2.
and things like that.
Yeah, so...
It's a cool Metroidvania.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the traversal of the environment and all that sort of stuff as part of that campaign. There was an extent to which, after a certain period of time, you would see more and more different enemies get added to the environments you've already gone through.
Yep.
In a way that sometimes made some of that traversal a little bit more fucked. You do get more items to be able to deal with them a little bit better and stuff like that. Again, it's fun. It's a Metroidvania, so it's not like this sort of thing hasn't been done before. And I don't think the strength of the experience is going to get past even 5 of what we've got left.
Yep. All right. We'll cut it for now. We can always, as I said,
cut it.
We can always bring it back.
We're not going to need to.
RoboCop Rogue City.
Super, super fun. I've already talked about the investigation type stuff and all that sort of stuff. Super, super fun. Way better than it has any right to be. It is not going to get up beyond, like I said, even 5 of these games.
Yep.
Sadly. But RoboCop is a game that people should play. It's way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah. So the Shadow Gambit Curse Crew, I'm sort of in the same boat as some of our other games in this category. Like, it is the same, like they've, as you mentioned in the last category, this is the 3rd game they've made that is like this. They started with Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun, with Desperados 3, and now Shadow Gambit. So the mechanics of what you do in each level, other than what the individual characters can do, their abilities, that's all that changes. One thing that is different...
Are there analogues between those games from an abilities perspective?
No. Yes. There's the... If you finished Desperados 3, didn't you? Yes, you did?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I got to like the second level, the second mission. I'm like, fuck this.
You know, you had the character... I think you meet him fairly on. The doctor can throw his little medicine bag or something.
Yeah, the medical bag and stuff,
and people go, oh, what's that? And they walk up to it. There's a character that's got their equivalent of that. It just happens to be...
Yeah.
You can see this character back here with his head on a string.
I respect the fuck out of those games. I am just not smart enough or patient enough to play them.
Yeah, so that character there has got you can basically throw his head essentially,
Yeah.
and that's what attracts them. So they've got the same mechanics.
What?
They just they just use slightly different. For the most part, there is like this game's got more characters than that game ever had. Like that game had, I can't remember what it was, but I think there's 4.
Shadow Tactics had 3, maybe 4.
Maybe 4.
Desperados 3, I think, had 5 or 6.
Maybe 5 or 6, but I don't think you ever played missions where you played as all of them. I don't believe.
I believe it was a very set, specific 3 based on the narrative progression and stuff.
I think so, yeah. Whereas this game, you can go into any mission and pick any 3 characters for the most part. Some would be, you must choose this one. When you did, as I mentioned in the last category, you've got the loyalty missions, for want of a better term. They're going to be based on one character, so they've got to be in every mission. But the other 2 characters can be any 2 you want.
Whoever.
What they also did with this game is they added in an upgrade mechanic to the abilities, this is another new part of the game. So as you're playing through the game, as you're playing through the missions, you earn what's it called? Vigor. Pretty sure it's called Vigor. And by finishing it, finishing one mission, you'll get 3 as a default level. If you let 1 or 2 characters not have a mission for a while, you don't use them, they will build up a bonus of that particular mechanic. So if you bring them back
I thought it was going to go the other way, and then we're going to get pissy and just like, oh,
no, it's not. It's the other way. So if you then bring them back in, you will get your base level, but you'll also get another bonus of 2 or 3 based on how long they're not useful, and that's how you can relatively quickly upgrade characters and get them more sort of sub abilities. So they've done that as a little extra layer. The thing that's sort of then on the converse side of that is you are going to the same levels repeatedly. Like there's only
it's the same environments fairly frequently.
There are 6 or 7 islands in the entire game, entire map, and you go back to them 2 or 3, sometimes 4 times each. But the difference between...
Are they laid out differently?
No, they're exactly the same.
Oh.
I think the only thing that might be different, I couldn't really tell this from moment to moment, is the enemy placement might be different in some cases.
Yeah.
And their paths that they take would be different. To sort of counteract that to a degree, if you've got multiple on each of those locations, you've got multiple places where you can start your mission from. So you might be 2 or 3 like landing locations that you can change from mission to mission. Because it might be that particular landing location is really close to your first objective, so I'll go there. Or no, I won't go there because there's 6
without changing the actual layout of the level.
Yeah, the layout.
Way, that does sort of bring a repetitiveness to it a bit.
Yeah, so it does. That's the only thing that sort of goes against the game is you're going to the same place multiple times, and because you're going there for different. If you're going there for different reasons, it's okay within the story, but looking at objectives, you go, oh shit, that's a bit, it's repetitive and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think probably will stay. I don't think it will make top 3, but let's just go through the rest.
As it's one of the few games that you've got on here, I would not feel good about cutting it at bare minimum yet.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make top 3, but I don't want to cut it just yet. American Arcadia, we've talked about that already a couple of times in today's episode, part 2. Let's talk about this game. So this game's got a lot of style to it. The visuals of it are are probably what is the main thing. Your 2 characters, they were in the best NPC category just before. Trevor, who's in the middle, main character in the middle, and Angela's on the left of the cover art. You basically play as them, alternating between them. There are some really good moments in that mission. I've actually realised another moment I should have. Where you're playing as Angela and controlling Trevor using different... it's just got some really good mechanics in it as well in terms of that.
Is that where she's been interrogated and having to do that test on that computer? Yeah.
And you're also then controlling Trevor as well in the background as well.
When that second works, it's great.
Yeah.
When it doesn't and you're not sure why, it's fucking annoying. And I think that's its biggest knock.
Yeah,
there's a lot of...
There's a lot of
estates that fuck you into the dirt.
Yeah, there's a lot of faces. Well, why did I fail? I'm not really sure. It's a really fine line between, I was so close, why'd you make me fail, sort of thing. There's also several chase sequences. Well, there's actually quite a lot of chase sequences in the game because he's basically trying to escape. Where I'm going, I have no idea where I've got to go, and I do it 2, 3. Then I realise, I've got to jump up that way and jump back that way, sort of thing. So there can be a bit of that. That's just down to
My
not being able to pick up the thing, pick up some of the...
one of my biggest issues is that there's a lack of indication of what objects in the environment can be interacted with or interacted upon. Like not knowing that they're there's two examples of that. The robots, the cleaning robot sequence, where you have to distract the robot to turn the fucking bag machine on.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't clear that cleaning cart could be moved.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. I planned out everything that I thought was logical to distract that robot long enough to turn the machine on. I even got myself in a position where I stood on the robot. It could not move. It couldn't get anywhere. The machine still wouldn't turn on.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, maybe having some on-screen indication that this item is usable. Same with the helicopter sequence where it's going back and forth. There's an object that you can move as a form of cover, but it just looked like one of the... Because of where the camera placement is, how far back it is and all that sort of stuff.
It just looked like it was a static building. You just had to hide behind it.
Yeah, it just looked like another one of those furnace
things or exhaust fans or whatever.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I got angrier at that game than I did anything else this year.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I'm shocked I didn't have knocks on the door or notes left in my mailbox based on how I was cussing and screaming at that fucking thing. I got so fucking ropeable at that game.
I can
feel bad because I know you like it.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm not disagreeing with you. It just didn't get to me as much as you. That's basically it. But there's even that first opening scene where you're on the on a fucking a crane, and it sort of moves. I had to do that several times before I figured out what the mechanic was I needed to do, and that's probably the thing that maybe lets it down a bit, is the indication in the game of what mechanic you're trying to do in that particular moment isn't always clear. The running away sequences are like you've always got to run, jump. That's fine. But some of the puzzle ones where you're in that sort of situation aren't always clear what you're trying to do. But there are some moments in that game that are really, really good.
I feel like American Arcadia is actually the inverse of Dave the Diver, where Dave the Diver takes a bunch of elements that are good on their own, puts them together in this combination that makes it fucking incredible. American Arcadia takes a bunch of elements that are much stronger individually, puts them together in a package you almost fucking hate.
Not me, but
that's a bit strong.
I see where you're coming from, but that's not that's not for me.
But that's hyperbole, absolutely. But fuck me, there are things I hated doing in that game, and it fucked me off to no end.
And the last one we added was Dredge. We've covered that a few times already.
Dredge is fucking awesome.
Dredge is awesome. Okay, let's go back to the top. Street Fighter 6, where do you stand on that? I don't think it's going to make it.
I don't think it's going to make it. That fucking campaign is crazy. I'm so glad that fighting game developers are actively working to make interesting single-player story campaign
I've heard
content.
Not that I'm not going to have any intention of playing it, you might, but Tekken 8, is it, that's just out?
I bought Tekken 8 after we finished recording.
Okay. That's... Apparently that's getting some really good positive vibe on its story, so yeah, like...
Yep, and it's got an interesting single-player sort of additional single-player mode in a similar vibe to the Invasions mode that MK1 has.
Okay.
They're like developers of fighting games are doing really interesting stuff around single-player campaign type stuff, and I'm really glad at that.
Yep.
For as shit as the Mortal Kombat 1 story ended up kind of being... I think we didn't have the most disappointing, because MK1 might have ended up on there.
So, what we're left with now is Resident Evil 4, Trepang 2, Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Alan Wake 2, Shadow Gambit the Cursed Crew, American Arcadia, and Dredge is our remaining 8 nominees.
I'm going to say that looking at what we've got, knowing the way we each feel about the games that we're talking about, I think it comes down to Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Alan Wake 2, Shadow Gambit, and Dredge.
Yeah, I can see that. So let's just cut. Let's just cut Resident Evil 4. Trepang 2.
For as much as I really enjoyed Resident Evil 4, I don't think it's not going to hang with those 5.
And we'll cut American Arcadia. So that leaves us with Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Alan Wake 2, Shadow Gambit the Cursed Crew, and Dredge is our remaining 5.
And I'll be honest, when I came up with this campaign, when I came up with this category, I literally had 3 games in mind for it. Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Dredge.
Yeah, and I can see exactly that.
I came up with that was before I played Alan Wake 2. I would love to try and go, Alan Wake 2 is the best is among the best campaigns of the year. I don't think, based on the fact that it's both of us, we've both played these three.
Yeah, I mean, I've not
and it's
finished
that whole culmination.
I've not finished Cocoon or Dredge, so that's probably the one thing I would get against it. But and I've obviously not played Alan Wake, but I finished Shadow Gambit. But I'm happy with those top five. So if we get rid of Alan Wake 2 and Shadow Gambit, we're left with Dave the Diver, Cocoon, and Dredge. You happy with the order? Because I am. Not that the second and third makes a big difference, but I mean, Dave the Diver to me is the clear winner. But that's just me.
I'm kind of half tossing up between Dave the Diver and Cocoon, but mainly because there is a weight to Dave the Diver where it could get a little bogged down under its own weight.
Yeah, that's the only negative to it. I think I sort of made reference this earlier on in part one, is that towards the end of that game. Now, when I am saying the end of that game, you are doing a lot of the same things over and over again. You're doing the same dives. You're doing you're going to the fish farm. You're going to the main farm. You're going to your second branch of the sushi shore, and just doing the same thing for several in-game days in a row, just to progress.
It was a 40 or 50 hour game.
Yeah, and I ended up playing for.
Whereas Cocoon is
I ended up playing Dave the Diver over 70. Is how long I put into it.
There you go. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I could definitely see that. Whereas Cocoon is a really tight 4 to 6. It's super tight, super put together. But there isn't that level of variety either. That's where it sort of
and I think the fact we both finished Dave the Diver probably.
Dave the Diver's fucking amazing. Don't get me wrong. That's why I said I'm half tossing up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with this order. I'm happy with this order. So
this category for me was devised for Dave the Diver, Cocoon, and Dredge.
They're all here, so you're happy.
Yeah,
it worked out.
Dave the Diver is fucking phenomenal.
Yep. Lock it in.
Oh yeah, I thought you were already going to do it. That's why I just didn't say anything for me.
No, so winner of best campaign is Dave the Diver. Runners up, Cocoon and Dredge, and an absolute bucket load of honourable mentions. So
surprisingly, it's only Dave's second win.
I think that's correct.
He won Best New Thing.
That's right.
And he won that.
Yeah, I have actually got somewhere yes. So he's now the second 2-time winner of our categories. That's right.
I thought Alan Wake won more than twice.
No, it's only
Alan
won
Wake
twice.
won more than twice. Won twice.
That's one
twice.
That? All right.
Anyway.
This is another biggish category. I think
much like Best Looking, though, it's a lot of, hey, this is great, get rid of it.
Get rid of it, yeah. So this is Best Moment or Mission. So this is literally moments in a game that could be just one fleeting 5-second thing that you go, that's funny, or it's entire sequences, which is most of the things are from Steve.
Most of the moments that I tend to pick up on are those dumb little fleeting moments that are just fucking ridiculous and amazing. You tend to pick up on more of the
bigger sort of things,
grander elements.
So we've got. I'm not going to go through all the nominations because there's Alan Wake's got 7, I think, in here. No, 6. Mortal Kombat's got 6. Sanabi's in here twice. Shifting Stocks twice. Viewfinders 3 times. We are probably going to use a lot of potentially some video and some audio to sell these particular moments. So rather than just going to go to the category, let's just dive in and try and figure out how the hell we're going to start getting rid of some of these. I'm not going to read through them all because there are in total...
I can't remember the high... Alright, I'm going to make this partially easy. I can't remember the Hi-Fi Rush ones. Get rid of them.
Okay, fair enough. So there are 35...
They were cool in the moment.
There were 35 there are 35 actual nominations to begin with, so let's just get rid of the Hi-Fi Rush ones.
Get rid of the reveal of the girl's true nature as well.
Alright, we'll just cut these as we go through. Diablo 4 has a Larath cuts Neryl's arm off, whatever that means, because I didn't play enough to see.
Yeah, that's a story moment. It was pretty cool. It was pretty intense. Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. System Shock getting arrested at the start, flipping off the cops. I'm reading. Before we go any further, I'm reading Steve's descriptions, not how a journalist or the Gedel themselves would describe a particular moment. I'm reading as described by
Steve. The irony is, trained journalist right here.
Jeez, you don't fucking show it sometimes.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just hilarious. You're hacking at the start. These cops bust in and start arresting you, and your character just goes, nah. It's hilarious. Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Okay.
I just wanted to point that out. It's fucking funny.
Viewfinder. Now, is this at the very beginning? This bit, the simulation
Yes.
breaks. Okay, we'll come back to the moment.
Yes,
I've got a
it's
video
that
of it.
narrative moment where the simulation breaks.
I have a video of that to show you, so we'll come back to that. Turbo Overkill. Well, this is the first time I've seen this game even nominated. It is...
Yeah, because it's fine. It was never going to come up anywhere else.
Okay, entering the rooftops level, finding a rocket launcher, jumping off the roof, shoot it, rocket jump, slide down a hill, soaring 8 dudes and landing on your feet. That sounds like a very in-the-moment moment, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking hilarious. Get rid of it.
Okay, fair enough. Wolong Fallen Destiny. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that person's character's name.
Zhao Yun.
Zhao Jun throws a fucking sword like a boomerang.
Hilarious. Get rid of it.
Okay.
It's just this dude riding on a horse throws this big fuck off sword and it just boomerangs back to him and cuts like 6 dudes in half. It's fucking great.
Okay. So we've got half a dozen Mortal Kombat 1 nominations here, so I'm going to go through them very quickly. First one is Kang Lao throws his basic bitch that at Sub-Zero, whatever that means.
Bitch hat.
Is that bitch hat? 'Cause that says... Oh, bitch hat,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, bitch hat.
Part of the satisfaction of this for me is you reading these out.
there's a Hi-Fi Rush one we can get rid of. I won't get rid of that because it'll come back to top. Oh, here's the next one from Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage, Captain America's An Ancient Shield. Johnny Cage makes an alien reference, referencing you bitch, Ripley. Mortal Kombat 1 again, Takeda's blindness and Blindfold are given an origin. Chapter 15 and all the messed up dimensional variants. The reworked origin for how Melina gets Melinity. And there's the last one for Mortal Kombat. Any of those going to keep? Or are you going to get rid of all of them?
I think the Takeda and the Melina one keep for now.
Okay, but we can get rid of the Chapter 15's malarkey.
Chapter 15, I'll just point out, like, Chapter 15, as you're working your way up this hill, there's a bunch of... Leave the basic bitch hat just for a sec. I just want to quickly touch on that.
Yep.
But as you're working your way up this hill, up this, like, temple to try and fight Shao Kahn and Quan Chi, you get a bunch of different alternate dimension, alternative Mortal Kombat fighters. So you get, like, a Scorpion Kung Lao mix that's called Stung Lao.
Okay.
And it's just like you get a Sonya that has the Kano faceplate.
So
and
sort
it
of
just does
they just merge characters together and create new ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just weird, different, alternate dimensional, different versions of characters coming through to fight the character you've chosen as you're running up this thing. And it's fucking cool, and it's just really funny. Like, Stung Lao. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We'll be able to take this off in 2 secs, but because Mortal Kombat 1 is a retell or reimagining of the origins of Mortal Kombat, Kung Lao at the start doesn't have his bladed hat.
Oh, okay.
So, like, Kung Lao and Raiden are hanging out in this restaurant, chilling, eating, all this sort of stuff, and Sub-Zero and someone else comes in at the behest of Liu Kang to try and test out whether or not Kung Lao and Raiden would be suitable to enter the Mortal Kombat tournament. And as they're fighting, Kung Lao is wearing this sort of the sort of bamboo pointed hat, like the sort of stereotypical ones you'd see in like Singapore and stuff like that. Takes it off and goes to throw it at Sub-Zero like it's the bladed hat, and it just bounces off his head like because it's fucking
just a hat,
bamboo. Bounces off his head and it's just hilarious and does nothing. It's fucking funny. Get rid of it.
All right. Let's go back down to.
There's a.
We'll give you the opportunity to describe these moments before we cut them.
Yeah.
So, Johnny Cage is Captain America's An Ancient Shield. I assume that's his actual...
Johnny Cage finds an ancient shield on a movie set and throws it like he's Captain America at someone.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, cool.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's gone.
The Hi-Fi Rush... no Hi-Fi Rush. Where's the next Mortal Kombat one? Johnny
That's
Cage makes an alien reference.
Johnny Cage is talking about there's a version of Kronika that comes back. And you're like, what the fuck? How the fuck did that happen? You find out how that happens later. But he just basically goes, you bitch! Like he's the dude from Alien. And everyone's looking at Johnny Cage like, the fuck are you talking about? He's like, Ripley!
Oh, he actually says that.
And they
does he?
still
Oh,
had
okay.
no.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just you how
He
you
actually
described it.
says,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that's the dialogue that Johnny Cage actually says.
Okay.
It's fucking great, but it's not gonna hang unless you want to keep it because you think it's funny.
I just assumed that was how you described it. The fact that's what he said is actually kind of funny. But
No, that's what he says.
No. Whereabouts are we? Let's get rid of. I think that's the last one of them. I think. Oh no, we've got two more, which is Takita's
those
blindness,
two
which you want to
stay
keep
for
that one,
now.
and rework one you want to keep that one as now. Let me go back and delete those two Hi-Fi Rush ones. But they were described as shy getting Corsica dinged, and I don't know what that even means, so don't know.
I can't remember.
The other one was the
I
base
should have explained that better.
the base after Corsica's knocks you out. Anyway.
Corsica, I think, is a boss character or a character who was a boss but comes onto your side.
Okay.
And the base part was more about your interactions with the characters in your crew after that fact. And then just the way Corsica knocks you out, I thought was pretty funny off the top of my head.
Yep. Right, let's keep going. So what have we got? We've got a couple of some... Okay. We've moved a whole bunch. We've still got a couple from Viewfinder. Sea of Stars. Teleport through to the Sea of Stars. Multiple different start styles combining super well. That's just what that game is. That's what that game is in terms of a visual thing, isn't it? More than a.
No, it's actually not because
okay.
when you go to the titular Sea of Stars,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a teleport. And as you're going through this teleport, you're not only getting the very rich pixel art style, you're getting a bunch of like polygonal stuff, weird lighting beams and shit like that going off. It mixes a bunch of different disparate visual art styles into this tunnel to make you really know that, you're transferring and transporting to a very different place. It's a super cool look that I didn't have anywhere else really to put it. It's not, I don't think it's going to hang with what we've got.
Alright, I'll keep it for the time being. Okay, we've got Lies of P, the puppet play leading into a boss fight. The Puppet King extends his hand and P slaps it away, making the Puppet King sad.
That's what starts that fight. It's pretty funny. Get rid of it.
Okay. Resident Evil 4 escaping the experiment / the laser grid, like the one in the RE movies. Separate Ways DLC may have been in... Okay, so you've got a reference to that.
So
the
Separate Ways DLC that was released for the Resident Evil remake was apparently a mode in the original Resident Evil 4.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that... Because I never played the Separate Ways part in original RE4. I don't know if it was in there before.
Okay.
But that's basically like I've never watched the Resident Evil movies. I've just heard about the scene enough that I went and watched a clip of it on YouTube. There's like a laser grid tunnel.
Okay.
And people get caught in that laser grid and it cuts through them and all the bits just bloop.
Okay. Yeah.
Drop. It does that thing where it's, oh wait, I'm cut. Oh no, I'm slowly sliding apart.
No,
it does that sort of thing.
Yeah, good.
It's basically that.
Yep.
That can go because I don't know if it's actually new for this Separate Ways DLC. And it's just one of those sort of cool moments. It's like, yo, that's rad, but it's not going to hold up.
Yep. You Will Die Here Tonight, the reveal of this facility.
Talked about that with the narrative. It's just that idea of you didn't realize that this was a research facility where they're doing a bunch of cloning human experiments. And the fact that it gets revealed to you is like, it's just another level of mindfuck on top of the just different brain explosions you have in the lead up to that. I think that's really cool. It probably won't hang, but we'll leave it for now.
Live for now. Yep. Jusant, the Demolition Man reference. Now I didn't get this. I don't know where this is. I know what you're. There's another bit where you look at. I assuming you're referring. There's some scene where you're looking at some shells. I'm assuming that's what you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I think
there's like an outhouse toilet where it has 3 shells.
Okay, maybe I never saw it.
It's pretty early on, you know that there's like it's a stone bridge across to like a bigger sort of tower that's not part of the main mountain.
Okay, yeah, vaguely recall that.
It's sort of tucked away as you're rolling up there. I just ducked my head in there to see if there was anything actually going on. And I saw 3 seashells. I'm like, wait a minute, surely that's not a demolition. Wait, and then I looked it up a little bit online, and people were like, yeah, no, that's legit.
Okay.
It can go.
It can go. Okay. There was an Alan Wake 2 on there second. Is that just the thing we saw in...
We watched the performance of the band for the Game Awards.
Yep.
That video that's there, I don't know why it didn't go as a link rather than as a
I'll fix it in a moment. Give me 2 seconds. So just keep explaining.
So when we looked at the song yesterday, like I said, that was the performance from the Game Awards.
Yep.
That specific song comes up as a sequence in Alan's in the Dark Place for Alan.
Oh, okay. So it's actually...
And you're actively as you're going through this sequence, this set piece, there's a bunch of just video screens all over the place with this interview playing out, this musical performance playing out, and as you progress through this sequence, that's where the song progresses.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It's just a super interest. Like, all of the FMV TV stuff in this game are fucking incredible because it's really funny and just really interesting. Mm-hmm. But this is the most...
From what I gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say.
Yeah, it's really well presented, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just this... Like, Alan's just having this complete mental breakdown. Like, not quite mental breakdown. But you get different you get different video screens as you're going along.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, yeah, like when you look down, there's times where you see these two dudes just shredding and stuff. There's times where you see Sam Lake on the screen as the his narrative character, Alex Casey, not the one from the real world.
But there is more to it
weird.
than meets the eye. I never meant for it to ruin my life that way. Would you say you lived a
Thanks to Dan Allen Gaming for creating that video for our usage. We'll keep it for now because that does actually look really incredible. Looks really cool. Yeah. Sanabi, the bomb at the start of the game. Daughter. We talked about this a few minutes ago.
I talked about it in the story.
So that's that section.
If we talk about top 3, I don't know if it's going to hang. That's the only problem. It's a fucking intense moment.
Yep.
And it's also somewhat undercut by the ending.
Yeah. Okay. Actually,
take it off for that reason, because once you figure out what happens in the end, you're like, wait, that meant nothing.
I'm going to come back to the Assassin's Creed Mirage ending. It is kind of a bit out there.
Sweet.
I just put David the Dive in there because all the various things we've talked about already and how that's game presented.
Did I write that or did you?
I wrote that. Pretty sure I wrote that. Yep.
Okay. I was gonna put something like that in.
Shannon Gambit, the really impressive moment in these games is when you've actually got all those 8 characters. You've got to take down some high level bosses. I've got a video of that.
Does it turn it turn based at that point, or is it still in real time?
It's still in real time. Yeah.
That seems like it'd be really fucking hard to manage.
It can be, and that's I'll get to that. Buying a grenade. System shock. Buying a grenade from a vending machine.
You literally walk up to a vending machine. There's vending machines in the environment. You can buy ammo, health items, shit like that. Mm-hmm. I saw a grenade in one of them, bought it. It comes out and blows up. Kills you in the process.
Okay.
And you get an achievement for it.
Okay.
Get rid of it. It's not going to hang. It is fucking it's really funny, though.
This is what you wrote, going to a classic video game scene? I'm not sure what that is. Is that early on?
There's a couple times where in the environment, you'll find photos just laying around that look kind of Pac-Man-y, things like that. You can pick them up and put them in the environment and actually walk in and go around those scenes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I could call that.
It's just it's an extension of that mechanic, but it's done in a really surprising way. There's one where you pick up like a Zelda-looking mountain, put it up, and you walk in the little entrance that seems to be for a cave. Walk in there. There's something to unlock in there.
No, okay.
It's super weird and it's super cool.
Yep. Another one from Sea of Stars, the World Eater. The fight turns into bullish, hellish shooter.
It was cool.
Okay.
It was a cool moment. It doesn't need to be in there. Take it off.
Okay. All right. What about the other Sea of Stars one? Teleporting. Get rid of that one as well. No, keep it for now. That's right. Keep it for now.
Keep that one for now, but I don't think it will get there.
The reveal of everything in Sanabi probably needs to be kept.
I talked about this in Best Story. It was a...
We'll leave it for now. Alan Wake 2 just says The Hotel.
So, how much of Alan Wake 2 are you happy for me to spoil and ruin?
Spoil away. I mean, I may eventually get to it. I'm not going to remember anything when I do, so go for it.
And in fairness, some of these moments might get you to play it. There's a moment in the dark, or not a moment, there's a mission for lack of a better term, in the dark place where you have to go to this hotel to find a character, I think, from the first game, or a character who's working on putting some story together in a way to get out of the dark place. But you walk into this hotel, everything at first seems all nice. It's a nice, fancy hotel, maybe some shit strewn about the place. At a point, you walk into a big ballroom. It seems really nice and fancy, but then there's a scene transition where it turns into a fucking bloodbath.
Okay.
And there's just dead bodies and pools of blood all over the joint. And it's just what? It's just a real flipping on the head of, like, I didn't expect to walk into this sort of goddamn massacre in this hotel. I was looking for this dude. And it's a super cool image. And it's also this thing where Alan's like, what the fuck is going on here?
So is that transition explained at all? In any way?
There are notes and stuff around that do make mention of how the massacre happened, yes.
But how does it go from normal room to big... is that like...
So when you cross certain thresholds in the game, there's times where it'll just, like, do a very sharp, harsh cut and blah, and put, like, a black and white sort of staticky...
Okay.
As, like, it's almost a jump scare sort of moment.
Yep.
And it does that, and when it comes back from that, there's blood everywhere.
The scene's completely different. Okay.
Yeah.
But does that explain why that happens? That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Okay.
To an extent, yeah.
That's fine. Don't explain anything more than that. Just as long as that's... Yeah. All right. Another one.
And there's other elements that, just real quick for the hotel one again, there's other elements where, as you're walking around the hotel, there's this group that's trying to do a performance, but they're also working out who's in this cult and whether or not that they need to kill the different members of this group because they're in the cult. And much like in that video we looked at earlier for the song, there's like a sort of FMV-ish thing that comes up around where the character, because there's two versions of Alex Casey, one in the real world and the character that Alan created, which makes it really confusing sometimes. The Alex Casey in the dark places is interrogating this member of the group, and he's talking about, no, that dude had to go because of this, this, and this. And you walk into like a green room, and at first it looks all right, and then all of a sudden it turns out there's a fucking bloody knife in the room, dead bodies, and blood all over the joint. So there's just some really interesting, different narrative moments that happen that turn sort of psychological.
Alan Wake 2, The Nursing Home.
That was just a really interesting sort of environment to go into. Plus, I didn't mention this as a moment, but the band, the Old Gods of Asgard, that are shown in the video when they're ripping on the guitars and stuff, they're actually old Norwegian drunk dudes in the real world. Saga runs across them. Apparently, they're related. Saga has no idea how. But when they see themselves still as those younger dudes in the band, which is really great. But they're in this nursing home, and Saga goes out there. One of them has been taken by the darkness, and you're trying to, as you're going through this environment, you're trying to find out what happened to him, trying to get this different dark entity, trying to end them. There's a really dark and creepy basement that's just really well detailed, and it's just an interesting environment to explore that I really enjoyed.
Alan Wake 2, Finding Alan Wake after the first boss fight.
That was a super weird moment where you keep having questions about that until the next moment that I've got listed, which is the reveal of Scratch in the jail that I talked about in the story.
Yep.
It's Alan continuing to talk like he's in the dark place, but you're like, no, you're not. You're in the world. What are you talking about? And those two sort of play off each other a little bit, these two moments. One is sort of like, the first one requires the other.
Okay, yep. Alan Wake 2, Saga overcoming her doubts in the dark place.
So the moment towards the end where you have another encounter with Scratch, you've got the clicker and the lake that's in this sort of camping grounds in Bright Falls is the sort of, for lack of a better term, the threshold into the dark place. So in order to get Scratch out, the Old Gods of Asgard are ripping on a song again.
Yep.
I forgot to put this in as a moment too because it's fucking great, but that's beside the point. But Saga and Alan Wake switch places. Saga ends up in the dark place. Alan ends up in the real world in Bright Falls. And as Saga's in her mind place, which is that where you go for all the her deduction stuff and the psychological profiling she does in there, as she's looking through the psychological profiling stuff, there's a different version of her that's trying to talk her down and say, you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing. And that very much that beating her down to stay there. But it's that moment of, as she's working through this, the doubts start creeping in, but it's written really well in that she goes, no, fuck this. I know what the real world is. I know what the fuck I'm doing. I know I'm not an idiot. And she overcomes that as a means to get out.
Okay, yep.
It's just a really, really cool narrative moment for that character.
Yep. Viewfinder, first time you place a photo in the environment and world and are able to interact with it. We'll come back to that in a moment. And that's it. That's the last nomination we've got so far. So, how many of those Alan Wake 2's events do you want to get rid of?
They're all super strong, but the one I want to keep is the video one that we played.
Which was the one up here, wasn't it? Was that one? Was that?
Yeah, and it's a bit more cumulative as well, because that band performance isn't the only time you get that FMV mix. You get like different commercials on TV that blend really well with the rest of the environment, and they're also really just real wink and nods to, we know some of this shit's ridiculous. Here's how we know it's ridiculous, or here's how we're indicating we know it's ridiculous. We're not taking it super seriously.
Yep.
Those other moments are super cool narrative moments, or just really cool and really interesting and really engaging exploration moments. The song and the way it plays as you're navigating that, and you're having combat encounters in that dark space while these video screens are rocking the song. Which, that was the space I died the most in, actually, which was a bit annoying. But like, having that song playing as you're progressing through, Alan himself is going, the fuck is going on? And then you see the version of Alan on the screens dancing along. And then you get Sam Lake doing the dance as well, doing like a thriller dance, which he did at the Game Awards. It's just a super cool combination of everything that makes that game so strong.
All right.
Anyway,
I
don't think the Sea of Stars one's going to hold.
Yeah, we'll come back. Excuse me. Come back in a moment. I'm just going to bring up this same video of Viewfinder.
Ooh, a fade.
And just skip through the bit where I think the simulation breaks, that bit. So it's towards... here it is.
Yep.
So you basically... I'll just pause it here. This is where you... First time you sort of reveal that you can pick up a photo, put it down in the environment, and that photo is... That thing you put down has also got a photo in it again. So you walk into it, pick up the same photo again, and then you repeat the process and repeat that several times. And after a while, in your first time,
you can accidentally break it by fucking up the teleporter.
Yeah, if you actually put it over the teleporter, it prevents you from going through. This is where the game. This just tells you that something can go really kind of odd. This is
I thought the game broke when this happened.
And you can see that the game is just everything's just gone really fucking weird. And eventually, once you sort of do around this a bit longer, Did
you get a bit of almost a motion sickness sort of thing out of that?
When I first did it, I think I thought, I sort of had the same thing you were saying. What the hell's going on here? Don't think I got motion affected by it.
Motion sickness, it's not exactly motion sickness, but because you're moving but nothing else is, it was really weird.
Yeah, really weird. Yeah. And this is only one of two times. So in this entire game, you've got this character called Jessie, who just talks at you. There's no dialogue back to her. And you have this interaction where you're in this sort of, it's like almost like the Animus kind of thing, isn't it? You're in the real world, in the real world of this thing. For this maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes that you're in this little sequence. And the game is basically set around climate change being a real thing. And they're using this simulation to try and solve it, sort of thing. And you eventually come back in and you turn off all these lights and get back into the simulation, and basically you're back to where you were, sort of thing. But I don't think you ever come back into this until the very end.
I don't think so either. I think they probably could have... Like, the first time it happens, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And they just don't use it quite enough as maybe they could have or should have.
I think they probably could have done this considerably more. But
hell of Tron vibes. It's great.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And this is where you actually start doing what I think is the really good moment of this game where you start doing this. Actually,
The art style stuff,
the art style change where you go from. It's probably more for best moment. We've already covered that one, but I just want to show you this now.
I think this counts in that best moment part, though.
No, yeah, it does, because it's all part of the same
thing. We can have that as sort of a addendum to that part of the moment as well.
So you tell me this, and then the entire art style changes to this.
Yeah.
You go in here, you pick up a pastel picture, and jump into that, and that changes to that. They don't do this very often in the rest of the game, it must be said.
It would be... I would... Oh, if they did it more... If they did it more, it might become too gimmicky.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. Then you jump into this sort of cartoon style, image. Then you go and pick up... And this is one that's... When this first happened...
Is this the crown one?
Yeah, you pick up this bloody...
Fuck yeah!
This bloody picture, and it's all flat. And you go, this is like just incredible what they do.
But you can go in the house, can't you?
You go into the house, because then you go into the house and you pick up another picture that then transforms you to the...
the
Doom sequence, the Quake sequence. And you come into here and you do this and you pull down this chain and go across this thing. This thing was just so cool. And then this completely sold me on this game, as this game is going to be impressive. They just don't do this.
Is this its own moment?
Oh, it is. Its own moment is this sequence, because then this is basically the end of it. So this is the down the bottom where I've got of the nomination list. We've got sort of the first time you place a photo environment and where you interact with it is kind of that extended into this. So probably it really is two sequences in reality. Because the first time you put a photo in is when you basically at the very beginning you've done your very first time you do it, and you do this bit here. And you bring up this bit and put this photo down and walk into it. That's initial sequence.
Yeah,
when you first do that, you go, my God, how have they managed to do this from a technical perspective? And then that whole sequence. Like, this essentially is the tutorial mission, for one of a term.
Yeah.
Should have shown you what this game's mechanics is going to be. Now they go beyond that in the later.
They go buck wild with that shit.
They're in the future where like you'll take a photo and nothing's in the photo because the environment's kind of.
Oh God damn it! That fucking annoyed me.
Yeah, like is what's the word I'm looking for? Opaque? No, I can't remember what the word would be. Like, yeah, see through or something. So you've got a whole bunch of sort of things like that. So there's probably are two distinct sequences there. But that first one, when you go through those multiple different art styles and go through, I think it was just phenomenal beginning of that game.
So perhaps then, when you go back into the nomination screen, maybe give that a...
Sorry, go back again. Sorry, just repeat that. I just cut you off, sorry.
Oh, go back into the... Can you go back in... Well, no, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the thing. There we go. Reload that.
I reload it. Yep, give me 2 seconds. Gotta find the right mouse. Reload. Reload. And you add another
Go down.
one. Yep.
I think that's the moment.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That last little bit I showed you, we go from that line drawing to the picture, to the colour picture, to the little cartoon.
The simulation break falls apart. Ha ha!
Yeah.
Falls apart a little bit because it doesn't happen any more often.
No, as I said, that's the only time they ever do that sort of thing. But I think that initial sequence where you're changing from different art styles is like it's a cool moment in isolation. But they do that in a way. It
also explores the potential of the mechanic that you're actually going to engage in.
Yeah, and they never ever go back until the very end. You never go back to that real world environment at all. No. Yeah, so it's.
I thought you were going to say you never go back to a sort of engagement mechanic, and that's also true. You don't really engage with any of the... you don't get the photocopier too many times, if at all. You only get it in that one specific chapter.
You get it you get it later on as well, where you can actually photocopy a couple of things. But yeah, they do that maybe 2 or 3 times. Yeah, there's these little moments that they just create new mechanics, and you go, oh, that's freaking awesome, and then they never use it again. So maybe of the Viewfinder ones, should we keep this bottom one? Should we
think that one's the one.
Keep that one from Viewfinder, get rid of...
Because I think that encompasses...
But that encompasses the mechanic.
The simulation breaking, it falls down because they just don't go back to it. They don't do anything. They don't do enough narratively with it. They could do way more.
Yep. And you're saying get rid of this Sea of Stars one?
I don't think it's going to make it based on what we got.
Yep. All right.
It's a fucking cool look, but I don't think it'll make it.
Mm-hmm. So we've cut about 20, I think, so far. Let's see what we've got left. We've got You Will Die Here Tonight, the reveal of the facility. Alan Wake 2, the playing of the movie, not the movie, sorry, the song in the game environments with all the little panels and stuff coming up on the screen. We'll come back to Assassin's Creed Mirage in a moment. That's still left. Dave the Diver, the various cutscenes that play when certain events like Bancho, enhancing recipes. I've sort of showed a bit of that in Best Looking, I think. But
yes.
we can come back to that if we need to. Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, the later stage of the game where you're using all 9 characters. I think I've actually got that wrong. Or 9 characters to take.
No, I think it's 8 off the top of my head. What I've read.
It's 8, is it 9? Oh, I thought it was 8. Anyway. Going to classic video. I'll get rid of that one too for Viewfinder.
That's cool, but it's just a further extrapolation of that art style one we looked at.
Yep. We've got a couple left from Mortal Kombat 1. We've got Takeda's Blindness and Blindfold to Give an Origin. And
these two are actually linked.
Oh, okay.
So, Mileena, if anyone's familiar with Mortal Kombat, Mileena is technically Katana's half-sister or some crap. They keep that part, but in the Mortal Kombat games before 1, she's this sort of demon that has rows of messed up teeth and just has this overwhelming quench for just like blood, violence, eating people, stuff like that. She starts off very, very normal in Mortal Kombat 1. Her and Mileena are all buddy-buddy. They all get along really, really well. They're both Sindel's daughters. Their father was mysteriously murdered, so Shao Kahn at a point in the other realities, became their father or stepfather or whatever. She gets a disease called Tarkat, which is how you get Baraka and his race of people the way they actually look. The disease fucks up their mouths, puts weird, twisted sort of skin lesions and all that sort of stuff. So it actually gives an origin to the Tarkatan race based on that. So she's trying to suppress it, and the medical team that Sindel's organized to come together to try it, because it's a guarded secret, because Sindel's the ruler of Outworld. And Outworld's this really nice sort of lush green place at this point. It's not the demonic hellscape that it has been at times through the Mortal Kombat mythology. So the more and more they're doing the medication stuff for her, and the more and more she's developing a resistance to it, and as they're trying to figure out whether or not, like, once Liu Kang comes in and they have the tournament, but then General Shao Kahn is trying to get in amongst the business, trying to hook up with Sindel and get his sort of rightful place. And there's a lot of doubt and a lot of mistrust between the three factions, particularly Sindel and her daughters and the Earthrealm characters. And Takeda's as they're going through trying to help out or figure out what's going on with Mileena, trying to figure out how they can help her, they stumble alongside Mileena because Quan Chi or someone else has been getting in their ear doing a bit of talking like, Liu Kang's going to try and stab you in the back. And Mileena is full, like, not quite full Tarkat, but pretty damn close at this point, and has turned and goes, rah! And jumps at Takeda and uses the size and stabs him in the eyes. So that's where the blindness for Takeda, and then like he gets handed a strip off Johnny Cage's shirt, because Johnny Cage, for all of his outward assholeness, actually has a really good heart in this, like in the quieter moments. So he's really torn up about Takeda getting like done up the way he does. Hands him basically a blood-soaked, like torn strip from his shirt to use as the blindfold. It's a super interesting and super cool way of like retconning some of the elements that people know really well from Mortal Kombat.
Some of the characters on how they got the way they are, sort of thing.
Yeah. Do they hang? Probably not. And the fact that these two are so sort of intertwined and relevant to each other, I think that makes it another part where you can probably take them off.
All right, we'll do that for the time being.
They're probably combined. They're the two strongest serious moments in that game. But yeah.
Sanabi, the revealing, I think that needs to stay for the time being. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this video. This video is the actual ending of Assassin's Creed Mirage, the ending, essentially cutscene. So, goes without saying, this is a massive spoiler. And while this...
Sorry, the thing...
Okay.
I was going to say, before this game, because Basim... Was it Basim?
I'm going to get to where this comes in. Don't say anything more. This flows into Assassin's Creed
I was just about to say that character was in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I'll explain
I
that
never
even...
played up to that point. So
I'll explain even more of that.
Oh, even better. Alright, cool. I'll shut up then.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this, and I'll cut it, stop it occasionally, but I'll...
Is that the dude you've been?
Yeah, so that is Basim.
Fucking spoilers, man.
I can hear it.
What's a Ginny?
I know you now. I see you for what you are. A troubling memory from a past life. And that is where you will remain. It is over.
No, Basim. It is only the beginning. For us. For what lies ahead.
Just going to pause it there for a moment. So, the character on the left, Nihal, I think that's how it's pronounced. She is a character you in the very beginning of the game. Your Basim's like a teenager essentially, and breaks into a sort of a library or some sort of building that's got historical tombs and texts and stuff in it with her. And you open up a chest and you sort of touch this this item that makes things start going really crazy. And the result of that, I think I'm getting this right. This is kind of really hard to kind of make sure I'm getting this story right. But essentially something happens to her after that.
Okay.
And then throughout the game, you're interacting with her in moments, but it's kind of really, how do I describe it?
Is it sort of like memory or dream sort of sequences?
They're not. The way they're presented, you think they're in the real world, but in reality, they aren't. Nihal is just she's real in the beginning,
spirit.
But once at the end, she becomes a spirit, and they effectively, in this moment,
understanding of the world we left behind.
I'll just skip forward a bit to make this a bit.
There is so much that awaits.
Are you alone?
It's a cool visual sequence.
It's a cool sequence. So, to explain what happened here, I'm reading an Arcadia article to get this right, because when I first played this, I had no idea of all this other stuff that was linked into this.
I hate it when that happens.
Because I knew what I was watching there, and I thought, okay, I figured out that about halfway through I sort of figured out the way they presented a lot of the scenes with that Nihal character in it. It's kind of obvious that only he's seeing her, because other characters in the environment aren't even acknowledge her presence, sort of thing. And there's even scenes like and they're all master assassins. So the fact that this character could walk up to them and not be realised she's there, kind of thing, we just didn't quite. So I sort of figured out halfway through that she wasn't really there. So it turns out that it is revealed that Nihal is actually Basim. So there are in a Fight Club style twist, it turns out that she's an aspect of Basim's personality that manifests as an imaginary friend. And so everything Nihal did, Basim did, right down to killing the final character. And this is where Mirage connects to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In Valhalla, we learn that that Basim is actually reincarnation of Loki. Nahal resents the memories of the original Loki locked away inside Basim. It just goes. The ending just goes places. It's just a bizarre. Like, I'd have to really read an entire article to see the whole thing to you, but it's really
Correct
just.
me if I'm wrong, but did you not say the story for Alan Wake was fucking stupid?
Yeah, but like, this is just the ending. Like, you've multiple scenes in your game were kind of bizarre to me.
Oh, don't get me wrong, yeah. Alan Wake goes some weird fucking places, man.
This is just literally the ending of it. And I kind of, like, I knew when I saw that movie, okay, that makes sense. She was an imaginary friend, but I then looked up the ending, but so was there more to it than just his imaginary friend or something? And it brings into all this Loki stuff, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Which is where the Valhalla stuff comes in.
Coming in, because Basim is a character in Valhalla, which we first see him, is in Valhalla. And he's a bit of a dick in Valhalla from what I've read.
That's my understanding, yeah.
And this is basically his origin story, effectively. And yeah, that's just how so I didn't even now when I started playing back, so was she real from the very beginning? Did something happen to her that I sort of missed? There was a sequence in the game where a whole bunch of your friends are killed, and was she killed in that? And it just didn't show that the body. I don't know. It was just because she wasn't killed in, like, she was not shown, so she. She must have got away, kind of a thing. But she maybe was. Yeah, okay. She was killed, but they just didn't. They didn't want to. He was repress that memory of that happening. So yeah, it is kind of bonkers finishing.
I do like that video game writers are more than happy to just go fucking ridiculous places.
Oh, absolutely, they do. And when they've got the ability to have a game, like set up a character leading into a game they've already revealed the character in, like Valhalla, they can kind of make fucking shit up, because he's going to fucking double.
Oh, absolutely.
He's going to
end point.
You just got to give them the point that it makes sense to how they've revealed in the game. And they probably knew when they made Valhalla, the actual game Valhalla, they probably had this story for Basim already, half written out. Oh, we'll make that game next time.
It'd be even funnier if they didn't.
Yeah.
They just made it up.
Made it up, yeah. But, yeah, like, that's just, like, yeah, when I read about the whole background, saying, oh my god, it might have made more sense to me if I played Valhalla and knew about the link for Basim in that game, but I
don't think it does.
I don't think it really
my
made that.
My understanding of things is that it doesn't.
But yeah, so that's.
But man, that's weird. That's fucked.
There's a pretty bizarre, sort of how that ending sort of links in with everything else.
Yeah.
There's way more to that sequence that I could possibly show, but I won't. But yeah, so in the end of it, he comes out as a regular. He's back to normal. Like he's just a, and you can see the belly basically fully transforms into Loki, effectively. So,
does he maintain the Middle Easternness, or is it like they sort of whiten him up?
No. Basically, in the game itself, he's still just Basim as far as. The only reason we know that he's got a different sort of personality. Not that I knew he was reincarnated as Loki or whatever. I didn't know that bit from the game when I played it. But you realise that he's changed a lot because the eagle that you use in that game for the eagle vision stuff, where he flies above the ground. You basically present your arm to have that eagle fly and sit on your arm, and the guy comes along and scratches you, and that's how you get the scratch from in his face that's presented in Valhalla when you first presented in Valhalla.
Oh, okay. I never got to him in Valhalla.
No, neither did I. But that's kind of how you got the visual appearance of him in Valhalla is from that. So yeah, it's kind of it is out there that how they did all that, and as I said when I first played it, I knew half of that. I knew that Nahal wasn't a real person, or wasn't real for most of the game at least.
Yeah.
But in terms of how it all sort of went overall, I have no idea. The rest of that stuff was just bizarre to me. I'm going to quickly just show you this section from. Do I have it in there? No, I don't. The Shadow Gambit stuff, where I'm sort of highlighting this, where you're taking out multiple characters in one go. So this is going to be cut. This is the boss battle in this game, so to speak.
The end one.
The very end one. So it goes for quite a while, but I'm just going to skip through the moment. So now you've got all. So I've just paused it there. You've got all 8 characters up here. So you got Monte Carlo, that one. You got Salidi, Toya, John, Teresa, Gael, Hamilton, I think his name was. I can't remember that. Pinkton, I think his name might have been. So you've got all these characters, you're controlling them all, and you've got these. I'm trying to see if I can get it. You've got 2 enemies in the middle, an enemy over here, an enemy here, and there's one that you can't see that's at the top there. But each of them need to be hit twice to die. So you've got to hit them twice, each one twice. So there's actually 10 enemies, but you've got to 5 enemies, you've got to hit them all twice. So you've got to hit them 10 times total. So if you've only got 8 people, but you can't do, you need. Oh, I just realised you're bloody on mute again. This is a really stupid thing that fucking VMix does. Yeah, so you've got the 10. You've got to effectively take 10 shots against 5 enemies, effectively. And you've got. Yeah, so this one, I didn't actually in this video. I didn't actually complete it because I didn't realise what I was trying to actually do. But you get towards the end here, and you'll see there's an end shot.
I like how you've got bush parties going on. They're just hanging out in bushes, just chilling.
Well, they'll tell you hide, basically.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
So there's a.
What's all the wispy strings across the screen? Is that like...
They're all linked to each other. That's the other thing too. So if I took one down, all of them would know that I've attacked that character, and all of them would attack the character that did the initial one, if that makes sense. So you've sort of got to take down all 5 characters almost at the same time, but it's bloody hard to do that because they've got to be hit twice to do it. You've only got 8 characters to do it. So you basically end up, in essence, taking down the character on the left, up here. Up here. Take them down with 2 characters. They're just there. There's one down the bottom right. You take him out with 2 characters. You start the sequence with these 2 in the middle here, and then very quickly, once you've done one of those shadow mode moments, you then get out of it and get back to another one. Take control of 2 other characters and basically try and shoot them real quick. That's how you end up doing it. But sort of doing it all in one go. You can see we've got all. Yeah, so we've now got 4 in the middle taking shots, 2 in the shots on the side taking shots, left side, right taking shots. That's not going to be enough. You're going to take down the character on the left is going to be gone. The 2 characters in the middle are going to be gone. 2 characters on the right are going to be gone. But the one in the middle is still available. So he's still free. So but so it was just that when you get all this right and you do it, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You take.
It's super satisfying to have all that planning work out.
All that planning and actually work out. And this one it didn't because I didn't get it right. I was eventually would feel like what I had to do because I thought you just had to take down all these guys in one movement, but I didn't realise you could actually execute this shadow mode sequence and then immediately stop it and then take control of 2 other characters to take down the final boss who's up on the top of the screen. Okay. So that's how I sort of ended up having to do it. But yeah, setting all this stuff up and planning it and actually having it execute and work is such an awesome moment when you get it right. There's a couple of sequences like this.
The problem for me is the setting it all up and it not working.
Yeah, it does take a bloody long time. It can take a long time, so yeah. But yeah, like doing that is just, it's really, really cool. So that's that one. So let's just go back to what we've got. We've still got, so we're left with what, 5 or 6? What have we got? We've got 7. Sorry, my bad. We've got You Will Die Here Tonight, the reveal of the facility, the Alan Wake 2 musical performance inside the game in really neat way, the ending of Assassin's Creed Mirage, Dave the Diver, the multiple cutscenes are in that sort of cutscenes. Anime
cutscenes.
That's in cutscenes in that. Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, what I just basically showed you. The reveal of everything in Sanabi. Exploring the different art styles in Viewfinder. What's your gut say with this one?
Take off. You Will Die Here Tonight.
Take off. You Will Die Here Tonight. Yep.
Arguably, it's a different take on the cabin in the woods scene or like premise. I don't think those Dave Diver cutscenes. Yeah,
they're not. Based on, I don't think they're going to quite hold what we've got here.
I don't think it's going to make it. For as narratively mind-blowing as the reveal is in Sanabi, there's at least 2, if not, well, if we just have the ones I'm invested in, I've got 2 ahead of that.
Yep.
And then if we take into consideration the ones that you're invested in, it's not going to hang.
Yep, so I'll get rid of that. So the ones I'm probably going to drop would be Assassin's Creed Mirage's End, even though it is completely bonkers. I think it probably doesn't hang either, because the one if you're happy to remove that, then I'm happy with the 3 we've got, which would basically mean
that's kind of where I'm going.
The Alan Wake 2 sequence, nailing a 8-character takedown in Shadow Gambit, and Viewfinder exploring the different art styles. So I'm going to get rid of Assassin's Creed. My gut feeling is this is Viewfinder, but I'm pretty sure you're going to say Alan Wake. So it should be Shadow Gambit. No, just kidding. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
You know how you said I was going to go, yeah, that's Alan, I'm going to say it's Alan Wake?
It's Alan Wake?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
because I think that
I'm going to play this again, because the way this thing plays out, like
it's
obviously
the encapsulation of the variety of techniques, styles, and technical components all put together in this fucking just ridiculous scene.
Yeah.
And I really like the song.
Yeah, the song's actually not bad. Exactly, there is that too.
It is, like you said yesterday, it's very Eurovision, which absolutely is.
Yeah.
Listen to the shredding.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that really actually sells it to me in this is the technical stuff of this, like how visually stunning this actually looks when these scenes are playing out on these massive video boards or whatever they are.
The combat is a bit of a knock because the combat areas are a little bit more restricted.
Yep, yeah.
You don't quite have as much room to move, but that's the only knock I could have against it. You're still essentially playing through a musical performance that's going on around you.
Yeah.
That is also narrating or basically like extrapolating the narrative of the game. It's fucking weird.
It is really, really quite impressive. So I'm happy to have that number 1. That's all good.
I love that moment. It's fucking great.
All right.
And that's like the original thing I've got for it is the FMV TV ads / shows. That was the thing, because all those different, and that's the encapsulation of all of it.
All of that. Yep. Now, finalised winner of the best moment or mission is Alan Wake 2 and all those crazy video scenes and stuff. Finally, runners-up being Shadow Gambit, 8-character takedown, and Viewfinder exploring the various different art styles. An absolute bucket load of honorary mentions. I'm not going to go through them. So
poor Mortal Kombat.
And that is the end of our regular categories. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dive into Steve's top 10, my top 10. Then we're going to try and come up with a site top 10 after that, so we'll see how we all go. But we were back in a moment. And we are back. So, this is Steve's top 10. Well, actually, not Steve's top 10. This is honourable mentions. These are the games that were on his list at some point in the past, but got kicked to the curb. So, over to you, Steve.
So, I started with about 22 games, at least. You can see here, Cheer, Diablo 4, System Shock, My Friendly Neighborhood, Jagged Alliance 3, which is a game we haven't talked about at all.
True.
Just a very cohesive and enjoyable experience. Unfortunately, just nothing really that would make it fit in any of the categories we had. Sea of Stars, Viewfinder, Suika Shapes, Jusant, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, and RoboQuest, which we haven't talked about at all, because I have literally played, that's what I've played. Where is it? I played 25.6 hours of that game, and all of it has been in basically the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
It came out of early access late last year, and I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because it was a first-person shooter roguelike, which I've played a couple of those, and they're fine. I burn out on them pretty quick, though.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of weapons, and they're really creative and interesting in how you actually use them and what they do and all that sort of stuff. And there's also multiple different pathways you can go. So you're not always funneled down the same path for each run, which makes it much more interesting to actually engage in. So that's my honorable mentions. The games that didn't quite make it. The games that did... let me just do that. There we go. So the games that did make it. Number 10, Lies of P. Number 9, Trepang 2. Number 8, Cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 is Dredge. This isn't presenting as well as I'd like it, but moving on. Number 6 is Dead Space, and number 5 is Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Dave the Diver. Number 3, Street Fighter 6. I had about 77, 78 hours in that, but unfortunately, online got the better of me, and I couldn't keep up. So I have sadly fallen off. Remnant 2 is my number 2. That was about 60, 65, nearly 70 hours I played of that between the end last few weeks at work and the holidays. And hey, what a shock! Alan Wake 2 is my game of the year.
Not surprising.
There's a part of me that, I know, right? There's a part of me that's a bit annoyed I left it so long to play Alan Wake 2. But the patching work that was done to it really made a difference. And I think being able to just focus on it and basically do nothing but Alan Wake 2 for a week was really, really worthwhile. Yeah. I do want to get back for the final draft, which is their New Game Plus. Adds a few little extra lore moments and tweaks the ending just a little. Haven't done that yet. Might do it at some point this year because they've got 2 DLCs planned.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
So, yeah. Alan Wake 2 is fucking incredible. No Baldur's Gate because I'm scared of that game.
Alrighty, so we're now going to switch over to my list. I'll have to do some readjustments, so give me a moment.
That actually looks alright.
Yeah,
do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah. Yep. Just crop that and bring that back.
That works surprisingly well.
And bring that back up to there. Alright, so this is
you got more honourable mentions than I do!
Yeah, I've got quite a few. So basically, when I started my list, I basically said, right, I'm going to put down every game that I played, whether it was for 5 seconds or 5 hours, and then I basically prioritised the games that I completed into the top 10, and then if there weren't enough to had done 10 games, there was then going to be some non-complete games that got into the list as well.
I should put RoboCop in my honourable mentions. Fuck.
So I've got a whole bunch of games here, some of which I played for a few minutes, well, a couple of hours, I should say. Some of them.
I'm surprised my time at Sandrock didn't make your top 10.
I didn't finish enough of it to sort of. I mean, that game is going to be 100 hours minimum to complete it. So I've only done maybe 5 or 6 or something of it. So not nearly enough to do it. So we've got a lot of games we've covered already. Dredge, Cocoon didn't make my list. Terra Nil is a game we sort of covered a bit. I haven't covered it all, but that's a game.
Oh fuck! That didn't come up at all.
Yeah, I couldn't think where it would come into. It might have been best new thing. Might have been maybe. It wouldn't have made the top list.
Maybe best looking, but it wouldn't have made it.
Wouldn't have made it, but yeah, we did cover there's a couple of other games in it. But my top 10 is as follows: Ravenlock. So this was the game that was actually the very first game of the year that I actually finished and got to the end of and saw credits on. It wasn't a particularly dramatic story or anything, but that game was driven by its look, and its look was its main thing that drove it. So that's why it's on the list. Assassin's Creed Mirage. That game was a 55-hour game for me, so in terms of a Assassin's Creed game, quite a short one in reality. But still, yeah.
I can see you taking 200 for Valhalla.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to play Valhalla. The Invincible, we took that out of best story / writing because it's actually based on I believe it's a Polish graphic novel.
I believe Polish, yeah.
It's a really neat game. I did like it a lot. It's relatively short. You'd knock it off in maybe 6 hours, 6 or 7. Fairly linear, but like it could have had again because it was based on existing property. It would have had best characters in it for the character you play as. A sort of a doctor called Yasna. Viewfinder. And now into the first game. So that game I finished. Sorry, didn't finish. Finished Ravenlock, didn't finish Assassin's Creed Mirage, finished Invincible.
I thought you did finish Mirage.
You finished Mirage, finished...
I thought you just said didn't finish Mirage.
No, I finished all these games. Ravenlock, Mirage, Invincible finished, Viewfinder finished, Jusant finished, which is number 6, Talos Principle 5 is the highest placed game that I didn't finish. I'm currently back playing it now. It is really good.
Yep.
Look, style, I'm just liking a lot of that game. American Arcadia comes in at number 4. SteamWorld Build, number 3. This game has not been talked about at all. I don't believe it did.
No, it didn't come up at all. I didn't play it for the first time until after we recorded part 1.
I'd recorded part 1.
Yeah.
It's a really good one of those in the SteamWorld style and all that kind of stuff and presentation. It must be said, I've only played it through once and not come back to it, so it's not got a lot of staying power in terms of that. There's not a lot of requirement to replay it, but yeah, it is still a really good game. I like the fact you go underground several levels. It's really, really neat.
Yeah.
Day the Dive is number 2.
I've got some things to say about that, but that won't be till probably when we do our proper recording, or maybe a little bit later.
Day the Dive is number 2. Yeah, we've enough said about that game. We've talked about it a lot, and probably not a surprise. Probably not a surprise for you guys, but Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew is my number 1 game.
No way.
That game probably was going to be a number 1 game before it was even out because of the pedigree of all those the other 2 games they've played. They've put out 2.
How much of the first one have you played?
Of the first one? Oh, Shadow.
Shadow Tactics.
Only a couple of hours of it.
Because I think you'd started it, but you were going to come back to it or something.
Well, I started it after I'd done Desperados 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They have got 2 DLCs planned for. Well, I think they're out. Sorry, not planned. They're out for Shadow Gambit. One actually has reference to the first game. Is it Yumi, the character from the first one? Is it I think she might be a DLC character from that game. I think. Oh God.
She was a part of the main crew.
Main crew, yeah. I think
and
it's
then got her own edition, mate.
They got a DLC just for her, didn't they? Yeah. So
yes, she got a standalone DLC for her.
Yeah, so she's got a DLC in Shadow Gambit that refers back to her. She becomes part of your crew somehow. We'll see how that's going to work, but anyway. And there's another one too that is another DLC.
There's Yuki's Wish and Zagan's Ritual.
I think Zagan's Ritual is completely as a new characters, I think, from memory. I don't think there's any reference to anything else.
Seemingly they both came out on the same day.
Yeah, they were out on the same day. And that is basically.
I really like the look of the environment stuff in that Yuri's Wish or Yuki's Wish. That's really nice and sort of colourful.
Alright, so that is our top 10 respective lists. Now we've got to do this. Import your list. Import my list. Now, how many actually have we got? Because I think there's a bit of crossover, so it might be 19 games to choose. Yes, 19 games. Oh. Only one crossover, Dave the Diver.
Oh, because you didn't have... Yeah, Cocoon and... Alright.
I didn't have Jusant and Cocoon in mind, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just to get a top 10 ordered list. I think we can probably cut some out relatively quickly. Ravenlock can go.
Mm-hmm.
Another one from my list can go, which is SteamWorld Build, I think, can probably go.
Leave it for now.
Leave it for now, maybe.
Yeah.
The Invincible can go, I think. Yeah, I think we'll go with that one. And I'm going to leave Assassin's Creed Mirage for the moment, but it probably won't make it either. But any from your initial list that probably could?
Liza P can come off, so can Trepang 2.
Trepang 2 and Liza P. Where's that gone? Where's it gone? There he is. So that's probably left us with 15, I think. Let me just go to the bottom and check. Yep, we've got 15 games remaining.
As much as I like Dead Space, for the 2 of us, I don't think Dead Space is going to cut it.
Alright, Dead Space is gone.
I think the same for Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4? Oh, really? Okay.
I love both of those 2 games, but I think for a cumulative top 10, I don't think having either or both Resident Evil and Dead Space or Dead Space on this list is reflective of the 2 of us.
Okay, fair call. So after removing those 6 games, we're left with Dredge, Alan Wake 2, Remnant 2, Street Fighter 6, Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew, SteamWorld Build, American Arcadia, Talos Principle II, Jusant, Viewfinder, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and that's 13 games.
I would maybe bounce Jusant for as much as I enjoyed it.
Yeah, probably.
There's some creakiness that. Yep. Gets in the way.
Street Fighter 6 would be the other one I think could probably be dumped. Maybe be. We'll keep it for now.
I would be happy. I would say let go of SteamWorld Build. I do have. I got a story to tell, but I'll tell that our next proper episode.
Yeah, but that's not applicable to 2023 though. So.
Well, it is because I played a 2023 game, but whatever. I liked it. I liked what I played of it, and then I got myself fucked.
I would probably prefer to see Mirage go than Rebuild, if I'm honest.
Okay.
I'll cut Mirage because I mean it is one of those games they've made. Like there's no of its particular.
It is something of a return to that formula, though.
Yeah, it's a return to the more
sweeping up.
It's more than it's a return to the standardized version of it, and it's a smaller scope of it. So that's where it was, it shined, but it's still there. So that round leaves us with 11 games. 11. So whereabouts are you with Street Fighter 6 or Remnant 2? You obviously Alan Wake's going to stay clearly.
I am going to make a suggestion that you are probably not going to like.
Go, just make it.
I would get rid of American Arcadia.
Nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen. I mean, if it's 10, that's fine, but it's not going to be go. I'd probably, as I said, I'd prefer to see SteamWorld Build go than Arcadia. So let's do that then. Let's cut Arcadia. Let's start SteamWorld Build. Now we're down to 10. More than happy for Arcadia to be 10. In fact, I'm more than happy for Talos Principle to be probably 9.
Yep.
Which now gives us Dredge 1, or currently Dredge is 1, Alan Wake 2, Remnant 2, Street Fighter 6, Dave the Diver, Cocoon, Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, Viewfinder's 8, Talos Principle's 9. And
Shift Remnant to 6 and Street Fighter to 7.
Alright, go down with Remnant. Alright. So down to 6 or 7 or 6?
7 for Street Fighter, 6 for Remnant 2.
Alright, yep. Street Fighter down to 7. And Shadow Gambit would make it goes up to 5 to make Remnant 6. Have I got that right? Yep.
Yep.
So clear. Like, this is obviously going to be, for me, it's going to be either Alan. It's going to be Dave the Diver, or you. It's going to be Alan Wake 2, isn't it? Is that the top? Is that where you're at with number 1? Okay.
My top is I mean, I've already said my best game is Alan Wake.
Yep.
But I think the fact that Dave the Diver was number 4 on my list.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it would be a relatively good, a good reflection of the Should I Play This Game podcast as it is now, to have Dave the Diver 1, Alan Wake or Shadow Gambit 2, 3. One of those, each of those, either 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then maybe Cocoon above Dredge.
Yeah.
That's the way I would flip it.
Yeah, I can see that. So currently what we've got for everyone else is we've done a bunch of stuff here. We've done Dave the Diver is 1, Alan Wake 2 is number 2, Shadow Gambit The Cursed Crew is 3, Cocoon is 4, Dredge is 5, Remnant 2 is 6, Street Fighter 6 is 7, that's very confusing, Viewfinder is 8, Talos Principle 2 is 9, and American Arcadia is 10. Yeah, I guess the only thing would be whether we do swap Alan Wake 2 or Shadow Gambit, but I mean they're the highest on our respective lists. They're our number 1 games respectively. So I mean whether it's 2 or 3, that doesn't really matter at this point. But I think having Dave the Diver being 1 is, for a collective list, it's the most logical one to have as number 1.
Absolutely.
It was 2 on mine and 4 on yours, I think you said. So
4, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm happy with that list if you are. Fuck, that was easy to do. Gee, that took 5 minutes.
Most of the time, once we get to this point's the easy one.
Yeah, it probably is relatively easy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the individual awards that always take the longest. These last 3, we're always just banging this shit out.
Yeah. All right. So, the Should I Play This Game of the Year in reverse order. Now I've got to do this in reverse order. Didn't think this particularly well through. All right. American Arcadia is 10. Talos Principle 2 is number 9. Viewfinder is at 8. Street Fighter 6 is at 7. Remnant 2 is at 6. Dredge is at 5, Cocoon is at 4, Shadow Gambit The Cursed Crew is 3, Alan Wake 2, and the number one game, top one game for Should I Play This Game podcast for 2023 is Dave the Diver. Right, cool. Let's jump out of that. That's all of our games completed, all of our categories done. To give everybody a bit of a perspective, if I can find my other mouse on my other computer, let's go look at this page I've got here set up. So we had 227 nominations across, 12 categories, 14 categories, whatever it was. 58
is that meant to be seen on the screen?
No, I'm just bringing it out at the moment. Oh, I could probably it up. I can bring it up on screen. It wouldn't hurt to bring it up on screen.
I was just wondering if you were.
If I can find the other mouse now. There it is. Wait a second. Gotta go to that. No, not that one. To that one. So yeah, we had 227 nominated games, total nominations, 58 unique games. Dave the Diver won 3 awards. Alan Wake 2 won 3. And then we've had a couple of singles, the remaining ones were singles. Alan Wake had 12 nominations in total. Hi-Fi Rush had 10, which is bloated because you've got multiple nominations for
Moment of the Year
and stuff like that. So it's not particularly what's the one looking for?
Because like Mortal Kombat 1's going to have 6 nominations.
6 nominations and didn't get
purely
anything.
Because it was in the best moment like 6 times.
6 times, yeah. So that is some quick rundown of what we've done this in our Game of the Awards. I'm just trying to find the right mouse so I can see what I'm doing here. Right, let's come back to this screen. So that is it. That is the end of the Should I Play This Game podcast 2023 Game of the Year. This has gone for probably close to 3.5 hours, so that's not too bad. That's not bad.
It was a good idea to do it in 2 parts, because given yesterday was at least 2.
2.5 for yesterday, we'd still be going.
Jesus.
All right, cool. Let me just double check that we haven't missed any anything from our thing. Give me 2 seconds to check. That's not that. I want that one. We've got that, so we've done that, and that. Yep, cool. We are done. Now we, in theory, should be back in a fortnight. That may not happen. Just a heads up. I'll probably be. Well, I will be away, so it won't be happening. So we've got to figure out when we're going to be back for the first regular podcast of the year. So it'll either be next weekend we could do something, or we could. Yeah. Anyway, we can make that call. Oops, didn't mean to do that. My bad. Wrong side.
Ow!
Yeah, so that's it for the Show the Game of the Year. We'll be back some point in the next couple of weeks with a regular podcast.
I'll be back on Friday.
See, we're back on Friday with Friday Night Fun stuff. Is that what's called now? Friday Night
Well
Fun?
done. Good job.
You haven't gone back to the fighting one yet. Cool. We'll be back with some sort of video combined. Check out video in the next couple of weeks as well. But until then, thanks for watching and/or listening. See ya. I've got to find the audio thing. This could be fun. Let's see how this works. Turn that on.
Alright, well, he's finding that Graham did a shitload of work putting all this shit together that you saw, so props to him. I'm just the chucklehead who shows up, plays games on videos and streams, and says dumb shit. So, dumb shit. Way!
Thank you. Bye. See ya.
Bye.